I come in the kitchen. You in the kitchen. In the goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Morning Dinner Podcast. It's your boy Key, man.
Chuck, what up?
Yo, today we have Brandon Ghidossi on the podcast.
What up, Brandon?
Yes, sir.
Let me do a quick little intro to you, man.
Okay.
I'm going to read your bio. Brandon Ghidossi is a spiritual warrior, martial artist, adventure, cannabis advocate, personal trainer, world trap. Damn, bro, you got a lot of stuff in here. Public speaker, writer, and universal truth seeker.
Yeah.
Ever since he was born, Brandon has felt he's an empath towards all creatures on earth, which has led to his passion in life, helping others. Are you typing right now, bro?
Huh?
I'm reading this off. I'm reading this off the Google Doc, and whenever he's on
he
it,
might be updating that
I can
shit.
see, he's like
add something hella funny in
adding
there.
to it.
Like add something hella funny in there.
All right, so you're into CBD, bro.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
CBD, man. It's good, you know. It's probably the most profound alternative medicine we've ever had in this country. Well, I shouldn't even say it's probably it is. There's nothing more profound than that. Yeah.
It's like the most helpful with the least amount, does the least amount of damage to your actual body, if any.
Yeah, it's actually quite the opposite of pharmaceuticals in its entirety.
It's a natural
Absolutely.
heater.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, a pharmaceutical focuses on a specific thing, right? A specific ailment, and then also the side effects, create all sorts of problems. But with CBD, it's different because, phytocannabinoids from cannabis is different because, those essentially take care of inflammation, and they also work in tandem with like the most profound system in our body that maintains pretty much all homeostasis within the body. So it works within that system, boosts that system, and then within that, any imbalances in the body that have to deal with inflammation or anything are all taken care of practically simultaneously. So it's like one of those totality alternative medicines. You know what I mean? It's fucking incredible.
Where's CBD for our viewers? Like, where does it come from?
So CBD comes from cannabis, essentially. You can get it from high THC cannabis strains or high CBD cannabis strains, right? But or marijuana or hemp, whatever you want to call it. Those aren't the real names, right? But
isn't there like a whole conspiracy behind the actual name of marijuana? Like it was never supposed to be marijuana. That's just the name that the government gave it, right?
You guys see that video where that guy's like, marijuana is racist? Did you watch
that? I saw that video.
How did you feel about that? Did that trigger you?
I don't remember the video too much, but yeah, people. I mean, whatever. The dude, that's his own thing, right?
It just triggered me.
There's always some weird shit, bro.
No, look. It's 2019.
People got to take it to a weird fucking level. I'm like, dude, can't we just keep shit normal? Like, but nah.
Bro, like,
weird is the new normal,
2019, like, I feel like we've kind of like covered everything up where it's like, you can't say this, you can't say that. Let's be careful with our words. And people are very conscious about that, right? But when you say like marijuana is racist, it's like, okay, you got to really dig deep for that one. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's kind of like the earth is flat thing. Now, I mean, nothing wrong with that, but, because I ain't never been to outer space, so I can't tell you if it's round or flat because I've never been there. But just
it might be.
But everything, like scientifically and from a nature standpoint, suggests that it would be a spherical, that shape.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'll tell you right now.
Maybe it's spherical but flat. Maybe it's like spherical this direction but not this direction.
Yeah.
But if you look at water, drops of water, and you look at like, things on like a molecular level and stuff like that, you start to see that like things tend to operate in like a spherical. So I don't know. That's just what
All right, flat Earth stuff already, man. We're like 2 minutes in.
Yeah. Who's the flat earthers here? You?
Keem knows everything. I don't know.
You've been looking into a lot of that stuff.
I've done the YouTube what's it called, the wormhole, where you just kind of watch hours and hours of content.
Nice.
Because I'm the kind of guy that I like to question everything, bro. Like I don't like to just like, okay, well, it's this way, so that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
I always like to think from the opposite. Like, why would everybody think this?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, if you tell somebody something, it's just because you don't want them to find something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I always question that. I'm not gonna say I'm a flat earther. I'm definitely not gonna say that. But I'm just gonna say I don't know for sure. It's like when it comes down to a lot of things, I just don't. I'd rather not say.
Yeah,
but
you got to stay open to everything, bro. Always.
I think it's funner to question things, man, just to kind of stay curious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's a part of a spiritual evolution. That's how you seek to find things, right, that are going to help you improve as a person, increase your capacity as a person and as a spirit. It's just a part of that process, really. So it's good to have, dude. You have to have that.
Yeah. Plus, when you look into like a lot of things that have been done with like NASA and like faking the moon landings and all that stuff. No, I'm not saying
there's so much stuff that does not add up, bro.
Exactly.
There is way more stuff that does not add up when it comes to our government and these other fucking agencies and shit that does add up, dude.
Yep. Like if I say I ran a mile and I videotaped myself running a mile, there should be no question about it, right? You see it.
Yeah.
So, but when it's like, oh well, I ran a mile, but my memory card got corrupted and I deleted all the stuff.
Yeah.
Well, then I didn't really run that mile.
Wait
I don't know.
second.
I guess it's very possible I did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Deleting parts of history.
All right, let's get back to the CBD train, man. How did you get started in the whole CBD industry?
Yeah, one of my buddies who's a personal trainer, just long story short, he introduced me to CBD, and he told me, and I trust him, he's a really good human being, a good spiritual person too, and credible source, he's like, yeah, I got this stuff, it's called CBD, and I was like, what? He's like, yeah, CBD. I was still trying to figure out what the fuck that meant, because I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, what is that? Is it a powder of some sort? Is it a food from a different country, a fruit, a vegetable? I didn't even know what the hell it was. So anyway, met up with him, bought a couple bottles off him. It was really expensive because the company he was selling for and I started selling for as well was really just corrupt and in it for the money, so they were way overcharging people. Anyway, bought a bottle for myself, gave it to a dude with diabetes type 2. Within a month and a half, he was off all of his medications, so tramadol, metformin, which helps regulate like bladder inflammation and urination and stuff like that. And then his vision improved at a certain milligram. And then I went and took him to have his blood work done to prove to some of my doctor friends that it would lower his A1C levels, his insulin level.
Okay.
And it did. But they didn't believe me still because they were like, oh, he could have just switched to a more diabetic conducive diet. I'm like, dude, trust me. This guy is a retired vet. He lives in a room that's like a 10 by 10 in a house that is probably still and definitely was a crack house with like 15 rooms in it. And he's living off of government funds because he's a retired vet. Like he has the shittiest food you can possibly imagine every day. And he buys it and he sticks to it. Like he's not doing a diabetic, conducive diet. But either way, I understand why they question it, and it makes sense. There's just not enough clinical data out there, and I get it. But either way, so that company, long story short, sucked in a lot of ways, and so I started up my own company. Said, fuck this, I'm going to do it the right way, dude. And if people don't want to do it this way, I'm going to inspire others to do it this way, and I'm going to tactfully expose other people by educating the customers so that they expose people, not do it directly, because that's not tactful. That's it's you're competing with yourself essentially. You're not ever competing with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you're doing the right thing, then you have nothing to hide. And if you're transparent, you're doing it for the right reasons, then you're good.
That seems to be a big something that we've kind of heard on a consistent basis. Is there's a lot of CBD or a company that brands something as a CBD something, CBD infused this, and it's just to get the hype and the name of it out.
Don't even get me started. This podcast will go for like 5 hours, dude. The shit in the cannabis industry, man. You know what it is there's just it's the second gold rush. And so what that's doing is people are just trying to get in however they can. And they literally, most of the time, do not know shit about, their products, how it works, where it comes from, how it was processed. And they're using just generalized marketing verbiage on their labels that do not correspond directly with what is in that bottle. Right. And then they don't lab test. So you're saying you should lab test if you're going to effectively sell something that's CBD titled. And what I'm saying is that the consumer should demand to see people's labs before they buy products.
Right.
Because asking the distributors to do something morally that they started off not doing, and not for that reason because it's a green rush and they want money, not going to happen. The only thing that can make people honest is by people demanding that honesty, and it's always the masses that dictate the direction of those companies profiting off of them. So we change the mind of the masses, we educate the mind of the masses, they then change the market, and they're a more powerful force than we are. We can put that information out there to inspire them to be that way, but they've got the numbers. And I think there's a huge awakening for people right now. I think cannabis has a huge part of that, and energetically, from a spiritual standpoint, and it's happening throughout the nation because people are getting off opiates, which is clearing up their minds so they don't have so much chemical imbalance. They can think clearly. And cannabis is the alternative. So it's like going from one extremely bad thing to one extremely good thing relatively overnight.
Yeah. I kind of feel like a lot of people who are into CBD, it's like a passion for them too. Like it's not just they take it, but they tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
You know, like this is what it did for me. I personally used to take it all the time, like just to help with sleep. And then I switched to what was it called? Melatonin. And bro, it was putting me to sleep, but to be honest, like melatonin, like I would wake up tired still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny how that stuff works because I take a 1-to-1 before I go to bed.
Yeah.
And it's made by Even, really fantastic 1-to-1. It's a RSO.
What is a 1-to-1
explain that.
RSO?
Yeah, so Rick Simpson Oil, essentially, if you look up Rick Simpson's story, like it's an amazing story. I've watched some documentaries on it and stuff, and he cured himself of cancer, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that because I didn't watch the full documentaries, but I think everyone pretty well knows that. So hopefully that's not fake news that they're spreading that I picked up on. But hey, we're fucking humans, so we're all susceptible to it. But anyway, so I take that. It's in a syringe, and it's just ethanol extracted, just raw, high THC cannabis flower, so marijuana or whatever. And they just take it raw, and they just basically allow that ethanol to, I don't know how from an extraction process, if they allow it to evaporate or if they, I forget. I've been to some extraction facilities, but I think they get the ethanol out of there to a safe
What's
level.
ethanol?
It's ethanol is like an alcohol, I believe. It's like it breaks things down through like a high alcohol concentration,
Okay.
I believe. So either way, what happens is they just put that raw tar, it's like a tar oil, into a bottle, and you kind of squeeze it out like a syringe, and it's very highly concentrated. For instance, one pack of that will be, I think it's a gram, and it will have like 400 gram by weight. It'll have like 400 milligrams of THC and 400 milligrams of CBD in it, and then some other phytocannabinoids.
Damn, that's a
milligrams
lot.
of that. So you take a little bit, and if you take that and you're not, high THC tolerance, it's gonna mess you up. You'll feel really high. But I take mine at nighttime before I go to bed, and I had some recommendations from a dude to do it because I was having some stomach issues. I was like, what the fuck, dude? So I started taking it, but I was putting it in my mouth, and it's really sticky, dude, and it tastes terrible. It tastes really bad. But this bud tender dude, one of the managers at one dispensary, told me, he's like, just put it on your tongue, get a glass of ice cold water, put it in your mouth, and it'll solidify it just like a hard candy or something.
Damn.
Ooh.
And then swallow it. And then that way it also breaks down amongst your digestive system. So, because digestive health and stomach health is very important, because if that shit goes bad and you have leaks in your gut, it'll actually put toxins into your bloodstream, dude. It's bad.
You don't want
and
that.
it's very hard for that area to repair itself because it's constantly receiving, it's got a lot of acid, it's got a lot of food going. So anyway, so that product is amazing. I
So
use a lot of different.
You said it's called RSO?
Yeah, RSO, made
Rick's-
by Even.
Rick
Simpson Oil, yeah.
Rick Simpson
It's a
Oil.
one-to-one.
By even cannabis.
And you said it just comes in a bottle?
It's
and
like a
little
syringe.
Oh, it's
like
a syringe. Okay.
Yeah, like
And you said it's 400 milligrams?
400 milligrams of CBD. It varies per batch, but
Mm-hmm.
what I've seen, because I'm on like my second or third, I think third, it has between like 350 to 400 milligrams of CBD and THC depending upon the batch, dude.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
man. I've seen these CBD little oil with the little, what's it called? The drop, what's it called? The
tincture.
tincture.
Mhm.
And those only have like 300 in the entire thing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to take
Yours have
one,
what, like 1,500 and 750?
Yeah, the full plant, we have a 500. We won't go lower than 500 milligrams because it's hard to dose effectively and still have it last 30 days. Like there has to be an effective amount of dosage. Otherwise, you're
You
just...
said last 30 days, so like the actual tincture,
Yeah.
the CBD inside the tincture won't last. Shelf life, you mean? 30 days?
No. Like that would be if they took it every day, that they would run out in 30 days.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then we do a 750 milligram, we do a 1,500 milligram full plant extract. Those are all full plant extracts. And then we do the highest milligram in an isolate. We do is a 2,000 milligram.
So the higher the milligrams, the more effective, the more potent it is.
Yeah, the more potent effectiveness or efficacy is largely dependent upon the body's already developed or anticipated development of receiving those phytocannabinoids. So I mean, it makes itself more effective at receiving them. That obviously the product has to be what it says it is, because you're not getting the quality, you're not going to get the results. But then the body is what comes next. It has to start producing receptor sites on these cellular membrane walls to be able to receive this stuff. And it takes time. And if you've got a bunch of opiates in your body too, your receptors are shutting down to try and resist those. And so there has to be a transition. And it's very, very scientific how this stuff works in the body. It's a chemistry thing, and it's fascinating. It works really, really well. It's just there's a lot of factors in this cannabis industry that are holding it back, dude. Mainly companies that are producing fake products, crappy products, dude.
I heard.
Another thing is just so there's 3 different ones, right? You said a 1-to-1, a full spectrum, and an isolate, or what is it exactly?
There's many different ratios and extractions and finalized versions of cannabis in the products in the cannabis industry, but as far as CBD goes, there's different ratios that they can do, but the major ones you're going to find in the industry is isolate.
And why?
Because of price. It's wholesaled through China. It's inexpensive. It has no THC in it. You can get a hold of it easily. The full plant extract can't be shipped in large quantities for someone to manufacture themselves across state lines. It's federally illegal. It would exceed 0.3% THC by a lot, because it's just a concentrated extraction out of high CBD cannabis strains, but there's plenty of THC in there. You know what I'm saying? If you concentrate enough. So yeah. So, and isolate, consequently those is the lesser effective of those 2 versions, the full plant versus just CBD. So it's, and then people put on their labels that it's a full spectrum when it's not, which is basically means that it's a full plant, but it's not. So, and then their labs, it's just a shit show, to be honest with you. And really, it's going to take the consumers to facilitate that change, because the people that are doing isolate, they don't give a fuck about people, truly, because if they did, they'd be giving them what's most medically effective based upon studies, and it's clearly a full plant extract, right? And you always want to use a full plant, when it comes to this type of alternative medicine, where it's concentrated in the flower and it has so many healing properties to it. But so they don't care about the people, truly. If they did, then they would offer a full plant extract and isolate as an option for people that can't have THC in their system, or for circumstantial ailments where you want to use an isolate potentially. So, and then there's the money aspect of it, which doesn't make things, good, because if people are trying to make as much money as they can, not spend as much as they can, they're going to go for the cheaper product, which happens to just be less effective.
I've tried the cheaper products, because believe it or not, they got CBD at gas stations now.
Oh, no doubt, bro.
But I went to this. I won't say exactly where, but I went to the smoke shop. It was like a vape shop, and they carry CBD products. And just out of curiosity, because it wasn't too expensive, it was like, I think for a 40 pack, I think it was like $15-$20 maybe.
40 pack of what?
40 pack of it was like CBD infused gummies.
Oh,
and I had taken them from another brand, which actually was working. So I was like, let me try this brand, bro. I took the entire bottle and I did nothing.
Yeah, well,
nothing.
Believe it or not, and I'm sure it doesn't shock you, but there are companies out there that have 0 CBD in their products, and they're selling it as CBD.
Crazy.
No way, bro.
Yeah. Dude, I went to a cannabis exposition, in Reno. It was months ago, but anyway, it wasn't Anthony's cannabis exposition. It was just a different one. I forget the name. I don't know. Anyway, so it was kind of a smaller one. I went to watch this girl who was a friend of mine in the industry at the time. She now stabbed me in the back, so she's not my friend anymore. Yeah,
we'll have her on the podcast and ask her why she's.
Oh, bro, you don't want to have her on the podcast, bro. I pray for her. She's got some issues, man. But either way, I went to give her support, and we didn't buy a booth at that one because I knew that it was kind of just half-assed, and I could tell that by dealing with the dude that was trying to get us to buy a booth, but I went anyway, especially because she was speaking. I came across this booth, and they were selling CBD, and I just went up as a natural consumer, and I was wearing a Harmonious CBD shirt, but she just thought that I liked CBD. She's like, it was an older lady and a dude. And anyway, long story short, I just started asking her some questions about the product, and all of her answers were just like really shitty answers, like you could tell she knew fuck all about what I was asking her, dude. And I didn't even ask for labs, because I was like, dude, if she thought she was selling CBD oil, and I said, oh, so what's in it? CBD oil. And I said, okay, what's the carrier oil? Like, what is it suspended in? CBD oil. I was like, oh fuck, this is going nowhere. So I just was like, oh, can I? She's like, do you want to smell it? I was like, yeah, I'd love to smell it. So I smelled it, and it's hemp seed oil. Nothing but hemp seed oil.
So what's hemp seed oil?
There's a difference then between hemp and CBD.
Oh yeah, big time.
What is hemp seed oil?
Hemp seed oil is the seed of hemp pressed. They can press it, and
It's like almond milk.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know if they CO2 press it or not, but anyway, they press the oil out of it, and it's good. It has a lot of omegas. I think it has omega 3, 6, and 9, or 6 and 9, or something like that. And it has a lot of, don't correct me if I'm wrong, but or hold me to it. But I think it was like some types of maybe vitamins or something. But anyway, it's nutritious for sure. But it has no CBD.
It's more of a supplement.
Yeah, because the CBD and all those phytocannabinoids and the terpenes, they come from the flower of those hemp plants. Like the seed is infantile. It has none of those things. It hasn't developed those things. So anyway, they were selling that shit, and I've heard horror stories, dude, that you wouldn't fucking believe, from dispensaries finding out that some of their CBD waters had no CBD in it after they had it secretly lab tested, just water.
That's so
like a $7 bottle of water, dude. So people ordering online like bulk amounts of this CBD oil to find out that it was all hemp seed oil, but they had bought like $500 worth of that shit because they required it as a minimum. Like, come on. You got to be that foolish. If they require that right out the gate, you got to know something's fucking wrong. Like, it's their fault. But dude, it's a shit show. I mean, people can fudge their labs. They can put whatever they want on the bottle, and they can have nothing or way less than that in the bottle. The worst part is the ingredients that are going into these things. They're finding a lot of people are doing like just secret studies now, and they're publishing them online. They'll grab like 10 random CBD products and test them, like mainstream ones. And they test them for bacteria and pesticide and heavy metal, everything that flower would get tested for.
So it's like a home test?
No, they take it to a lab.
Oh, wait, so you can go to an actual laboratory to get it tested on your own as a regular civilian?
You could walk in there if you want to and have a bottle test. It's going to probably cost you, well, in most circumstances, more than the bottle was.
Yeah.
Because it's $50 to $75 to test those products. So every time we lab test ours, it's $50 to $75 a bottle. But we more so like batch lab tests. So it's not like, I mean, everyone will go out of business if you tested every bottle.
What's a batch lab test?
Well, our lab produces like large batches of our oil, but only when ordered. So our product is made to order. So it's not like it's just sitting on a shelf. Not that this stuff would go bad anyway, it wouldn't, but I mean, that's how fresh our shit is. It's coming straight from that fucking flower into the bottle, and you're getting it in like 2 weeks probably at the latest. And that's if, if I delivered it to a dispensary or a consumer bought it from the dispensary, there's time elapses from production and shipping to that. So, but fresh, dude. So we lab test and we associate it with basically that particular batch. It's hard to control the batch lab testing, man, because it's like you gotta, it slows the lab down, and every, plant is different strains that we use. We just pump out the best quality that we can, the most medically effective that we can, because there's a huge demand for it, dude.
Yeah, for
sure. So, I mean, we do everything, as close to perfect as we can, as close to just being conducive to every aspect that you would want to, experience results from these products as you can. And there's some stuff, it's minor stuff, to other people probably, but it's, major stuff to us, but you just can't get around certain things. You know what I mean? Like you can't test, you can't batch test every single thing. Even the large companies that say they're doing that, they're not fucking doing that, bro.
It just costs way too much.
No, it can't be as accurate as they claim for it to be, because it's not possible.
So like what happens exactly? Like, so you batch test the whole thing, but each bottle might have just a tiny bit difference. Basically?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it could, it depends on how good your chemist is at your lab, but I mean, there's always the X factor if we're dealing with a plant. If it's just CBD isolated, it's going to be more accurate, but a lot of people's CBD isolate is not 99% pure and above. It's like 90 to 95% purity. So it's not even as pure as it can be, which means it can have trace amounts of THC in it, which is bad if you're taking it and you don't want to lose your CDL because you have a zero tolerance for drug testing at your job,
No,
So,
when you say trace amounts, you mean like larger amounts of THC?
Small amounts, but noticeable via like a
right.
piss
Drug
test.
test.
Right, because
Yeah.
CBD is advertised as it's a different chemical than THC where it won't show up on a drug test.
Yeah,
And
it's
and if you-
non-psychoactive.
And if you take
Well,
it where it's more than the amount that it's supposed to be, it can show up in a drug test.
So
Is what you're saying.
there's always traces
Mhm.
in anything. Super small amount.
but
Yeah,
it's supposed
yeah.
to be a certain
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah, because it's
Percentage
you say
wise.
past like what. When does it show up on the drug test? Does it have to be past a certain decimal
yeah,
point?
it depends on the state's threshold. Like the state of Nevada most commonly is between 0.4 and 0.5 ppm. And so if you exceed 0.5, you fail. I took a drug test when I was taking CBD for the previous company I was working for on purpose, not consuming any cannabis. It's just one of those times in my life where I wasn't consuming any cannabis. And I went and drug tested myself because I was telling people at the workplace where I was working, my parents' towel company, who have CDLs and who are contractors that have contractors licenses and shit that can be jeopardized, right? I couldn't truthfully tell them one way or another if I didn't go test myself that it had 0% THC because you can't trust labs, you know what I'm saying? So I had THC in my system. It was like 0.25 or something like that. So out of that 0.5. And so I questioned that company about it and my friend had told me, yeah, that has happened before. People have written in about that. That was just one of the shady things about the previous company, the CBD company I was working for before I started my own. So, it's crazy.
So
bro.
what's the
Hard to trust.
what's the amount of THC per CBD that it's like the least that it should have per tincture or per gummy or per whatever?
Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer to that. It just depends on what the company wants, that's selling those products. There is kind of a more effective ratio when you're utilizing all those phytocannabinoids, but as far as there's no state regulations on it. So there's a federal, it's below 0.3%. You have to have, but you can have lots of ratios and keep that below 0.3%. You just isolating certain molecules and putting them in the product versus doing a full plant. There's only so much you can do when you're dealing with the full plant. Like you can only ratio it. And our chemists over there that in our lab, they are brilliant, dude. Like the shit that they're doing, that's why our product stands above, the rest, because it's really well thought out and they're willing to sacrifice time to do things appropriately and slowly and the way that it needs to be done to make the quality that it is.
Now, when you say you're talking about Harmonious CBD, right? That's your company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me ask you: were you guys doing CBD before THC or marijuana became recreationally legal here in Nevada, or?
No, we got into it after that was already recreational.
Okay, so it was okay.
Because the business we started the business license was applied for, paid for, all that stuff January 25th of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just a little bit over a year of the business license.
Right.
But we took our time to find manufacturers that were doing it the way that we wanted it done, because dude, these manufacturers, bro, it's a shit show too.
Real quick,
It's a
like how
shit
did
show.
you figure out that there was a better way to extract something? Like how'd you get the research?
Yeah, that's a good question. My buddy RJ, who I grew up with, he was a part of the business for a while, and his wife, and helped out a lot. Very grateful for having them be a part of it. And anyway, he came across some data about full plant extract versus just the isolate, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. He was like, dude, you really got to check this out. I think this could be the next thing. And so I started doing research on it, and then I found a bunch of clinical data out of Israel and elsewhere.
I heard Israel is
Yeah.
like the main place where they use CBD.
They've been doing it for a while, bro.
Like 50 years or some shit.
Yeah,
like that.
since I think I spoke at the Bud Tender Fight Club today. I should remember. It was on my PowerPoint. I think it's like 1965 is when they discovered this Israeli doctor discovered tetrahydrocannabinol, which is THC, and then I think they discovered CBD after, and then the receptors came later. I think in the 80s or something, but. Yeah, these guys are on top of it, and they got a government that allows them to do that shit. So
like to study it and everything.
Yeah, they have a hospital that they dose people with it out of there.
I'd almost want to go there and just try it.
Yeah, and they have a university. It's like Cannabis University, bro. They study this shit
In Israel?
all the time. Yeah.
Wait, real quick,
What?
for Israel, like if I had like diabetes or cancer or something, could I go there and use their?
Yeah, I
How-
don't see why not.
Oh, okay. I thought there was like some
Oh, I
restriction.
don't know about
You'd
their
probably
healthcare
need-
system
You'd
with all
probably
that.
need to become a citizen
You think so?
Yeah.
Couldn't pay for it.
You'd have to convert
or pay cash. Like, yo, I got
no,
Yeah.
you just religiously convert, bro, to whatever they got going on over there.
Yeah.
Wait, is Israel run completely by religion?
I don't know. I'm just fucking around.
I was like, oh.
But that would probably help. That would help your chances. Like if
Yeah.
you were to go to Utah and you want to get a job at, you know,
Mormon.
like I mean, you might be able to. That counts on the resume probably.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, Utah. We've heard.
You know what I mean?
Wait, so it's Harmonious CBD is primarily CBD. It's not doesn't issue any or sell any THC products.
Ours has THC, but below the federal legal limit.
Okay.
So no 1x1s or anything.
No 1-to-1s. Yeah, our ratio is probably closer to like a 29 or 30 to 1 THC to CBD, which is a standard ratio if you're gonna keep it under that 0.3%. And ours is actually pretty well below that 0.3. I mean, it depends on the batch because each strain is different, and mixtures of strains are different. But you know, it's about half of that in some of our lab tests. Sometimes it's, you know, a little bit more, but it's never. I mean, it's never even close to going over that 0.3. My manufacturer just won't risk it. You know, they do everything by the books, dude. We actually had the Department of Taxation come at us a little bit about our THC levels. Man, let me tell you, bro, that really pissed me off because I'm like, you don't come through and accuse our product of not being compliant when we lab test at the fucking lab that you guys went to start like all the regulations for the state of Nevada. Like these guys basically started everything, the lab we test at, for other labs to follow and for the state to have as their standardized regulations for lab testing for cannabis in the state. That's who we lab test through. And the state Department of Taxation, well, first it was the Department of Agriculture that was governing and kind of overseeing the dispensaries and what was in there.
Yeah.
And then they turned it over to the Department of Taxation. I mean, we're dealing with a plant here that, you know, and all this stuff. Like, the Department of Taxation knows nothing. The Department of Agriculture doesn't know shit about it, but they know more than the Department of Taxation. So it became about money. But either way, they questioned our product, dude, and you know, and doing some sort of mathematical calculation that they had that was not right. And they did this on multiple occasions. They went into the lab and questioned our stuff, and I was informed by the lab that they were in doing that. I was like, well, it's fine. It's everything is federally legal. Problem is our product is doing really well and it's helping heal people, and we're speaking the truth. And whenever you do that spiritually, there's always going to be energy sources that come at you, whether they're conscious of it and doing it purposefully, or whether they're not conscious of it, and they're just being used because their level of consciousness is low, so they're being used. You know, but
you guys are good though, because you guys have the lab reports to prove it.
We're the most legit, transparent CBD company out there, dude, that I've seen, bro. And because at the end of the day, dude, truth is and light and love, that will always supersede everything. And if you operate on that level, you have nothing to hide. So people can't try and break you down and destroy you, because there's nothing fragile about you. Everything is powerful, and you're supported by the power that gives them life and gives them, you know, the opportunity to harbor a negative energy that they're trying to come at you. It creates that. So there's nothing more powerful than truth and love and light, bro. And we operate on that level all the time. Now, we're not perfect, right? We're human beings, but that's all part of the evolutionary process, dude, of our soul and of whatever we choose to be as human beings. That's a part of it. And we choose to go that route because it's the right thing to do, because it's the way that the universe is set up, right? And because you get more freedom. You get more freedom to move around in the universe spiritually and elsewhere. And you can manifest a lot of things out of that too, dude. Positive stuff to help other people. So these other sources are doing it the wrong way, bro. They don't realize they're fools, right? Because there's only one end result to that, participating with that, and it's self-destruction, bro.
It's gonna be a quick cash grab, you know what I mean, for them.
Yeah.
Because companies that operate on those terms, they don't usually last.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
People catch on to it sooner or later.
And that's what we're helping facilitate too, you know, in a roundabout way, you know, just clean shit up by educating the consumers, dude. And it's funny, the response. We were at a Utah Cannabis Exposition one time, and we had this older guy, because over there, the Mormons, dude, they're ready for this shit. They're medical right now. They just turned medical. They're going to work on recreational. But we went to this cannabis exposition. I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, dude, are we going to get arrested here? Like, we had to hide our weed when we were smoking it, because we were at Airbnb. And I mean, it was like, I felt like I was 14 again, living in Reno or some shit. And anyway, this older Mormon guy, he comes over, and there was like 7 CBD companies in there. And I don't give a shit. I went around, checked all their products out, shook their hands, asked them a few questions, you know, just not trying to create any sort of like, argumentative situation. I don't give a fuck.
You were
about
just
that.
seeking the truth.
I'm interested in other people's products because the more educated I am on top of that stuff, the more I can be aware of what's going on. And that's important. So, but this one dude, he went to every single booth. He came to ours. We educated the shit out of him because that's all we were doing, educating and sampling, right? And he took the education that we were giving him and he went around to every booth that was there, every CBD booth, and was asking him the questions that we were telling him that he needs to ask to verify products. And then he'd come back to us and he'd ask us, so this company over there, they said this. What does that mean? And I'm like, well, it could mean this. It could mean that. You got to get to the bottom of it. Motherfucker ran off, dude. And he starts like just questioning everybody. And, because he wanted to buy some CBD. And guess who we ended up buying the CBD from in the end?
Harmonious.
You know what I mean?
That's what it is, man.
Simple. Let the people make their choices, dude. Wake them up. Teach them some shit. Give them free information and wisdom and all that stuff and education.
Mm-hmm.
Let them make those choices for themselves. People don't like to be treated like shit. They don't like to be scammed. They don't like to be lied to. No one likes that shit. It's just everyone was asleep.
Oh,
And that's why it was happening.
real quick, I completely forgot. We didn't even talk about what CBD is for somebody who's tuning in, and maybe they don't even know what CBD is.
Yeah.
Maybe they think CBD is just weed.
Yeah.
Can you explain
that.
what is CBD and what are the benefits of it?
Sure, yeah. So CBD is just one molecule amongst hundreds of known molecules in the cannabis plant. It's called a phytocannabinoid. So it's one of two major phytocannabinoids. So anytime you're dealing with cannabis, you're going to find concentrations of CBD, which is cannabidiol is CBN. I was just talking about that. It's cannabidiol, and THC, which is tetrahydrocannabinol. So those are always going to be in the largest concentration in cannabis. Now, whether one of them is higher in THC or higher in CBD, that's what they classify as marijuana and hemp. Hemp essentially has higher CBD or hemp strains, and marijuana has higher THC.
Mm-hmm.
So CBD is just one of those major healing components. It interacts with the body and the body's endocannabinoid system, and encourages the cells through direct communication and nutrients to then go and take care of removing anti-inflamed cells in the body. CBD doesn't necessarily do that directly. It kind of prolongs the effects of THC. All of the data that I've come across and the chemists and guys that I talk with, it prolongs the effects of THC, and kind of it encourages the body to produce more of its own endogenous cannabinoids, which anandamide is that one, and which you get from runner's high. That's that your body produces its own cannabinoid. Endogenous cannabinoid. Yeah, our body is set up to receive those from other sources, but the body makes its own.
From running.
Yeah, because it's like a self-defense mechanism. It's like you build up a bunch of inflammation in the body, and how's it going to remove that inflammation and heal itself? It has to do something, right?
Yeah.
So that's a part of the process of it removing that. So we introduce these phytocannabinoids, which is THC is one of them, and CBD is another, and there's other ones, and they elicit certain effects within the body, communication and nutrients and stuff, and then there's enzymes that break those down in the bloodstream. So CBD is a profound one. It works good, but it is not it's the most popular one, but it's definitely not the most effective one.
What's the most effective?
Full plant extract.
Got it.
Everything present. Terpenes,
THC.
all the phytocannabinoids, THC included, everything.
So why is that? Why is the THC and CBD so good together?
Yeah, well, all those phytocannabinoids together, I call it a synergistic effect. Some people call it entourage effect, but that's just too mainstream. I don't like that shit. So I call it a synergistic effect. It just means more. And anyway, what they do is they work together doing, some of them will directly interact with those receptors. Some of them will help other molecules to become more effective within those receptors. Some of them help to slow down the breakdown of the enzymes that are breaking down all of those things in the bloodstream. We don't even know what all those things do. I mean, we're just scratching the surface, dude.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing. It's incredible, but from what we do know, using the full plant versus just CBD by itself is far more effective. I mean, they've done clinical studies in Israel. I mean, I can email those to anybody that wants that shit. Just message below this podcast and thing, and
drop a comment down below if you want to be educated, get that knowledge.
Trust me.
Wait, is all that information on your? Would you link it on your website, or are you able to, or is that legally like?
Well, that's tough. Because the thing of it is with the website is you can be more easily monitored on the website. So we don't have pictures of cannabis on there. We just have like farming picture, that, you know, just like a generic photo.
Right.
Because hemp and marijuana look very identical to the untrained eye, people that don't know the difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we could put a picture of our hemp flower up there, and then all of a sudden Shopify, who we use, and all these other, like, it red flags you, right? Because they don't know the fucking difference, dude. So, you know, and I don't blame them, because it's really hard to know the difference. But so basically, you know, on our website, the information that we put on there is to help us fly, you know, under the radar. We're doing everything the right way, so we don't have anything to hide, but we also don't need uneducated idiots looking at our stuff like the Department of Taxation was, and questioning stuff when they don't know. They're not in a position to intelligently question that stuff, you know. So we're about healing the people, bro. So I mean, if we can't get our stuff out there and the quality we have and the education we have, we're not doing any good. So we gotta be tactful about it. You know what I mean?
You should have your website linked to a blog.
Yeah.
And that blog, you know.
Oh, you could for sure. Yeah,
you know, backlink or something like that.
Yeah, and we should do something like that. It's just like
finding
time.
the person to do it.
Well, time,
yeah, you
bro,
definitely gotta have
I could
somebody.
write that shit. Like, I write articles and stuff, but I mean, it's like you guys are busy all the damn time, bro. If there was 2 of us, each of us,
that'd be nice.
Take over the world, bro.
Yeah.
Or just have like a drop your email down below to be sent to a newsletter or something like that, and boom.
Yeah.
Get them the information.
We should figure out. I mean, hopefully they figure out how to clone soon. You know, like.
Oh, they're working on it, bro.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
didn't they already clone like a?
They could probably do it.
Well,
already.
no, I mean like mainstream clone. You know,
Yeah, like
I know,
right now.
I know they've done
Like
it.
clones
but I'm
are
talking
us?
like, yeah, exactly. Like start a business, and I
Yeah.
can send you
Right.
my DNA, and you can send me my exact clone to
That
my
would
house. Like
that would
UPS
be
and
interesting, and it can't do.
shit. Thonk them on the head, wake them up.
It
dude.
can't do anything you
All right,
don't
bitches, what we're
authorize
gonna
it
do.
to. So it's like you order your clone, right? But then you only authorize it to do those work things.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't talk to people to make certain comments. Like it doesn't go off tangent. It only does what you have it do. Right?
Kind of makes you wonder, bro, if there was like an exact replica of you, same personality, everything, identically you, would you get along with that motherfucker?
I would.
I mean, you would think you would because you're on the same mindset, but sometimes like when you have too much in common with somebody, it creates like argument a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you'd be like, well, no, I want to do video.
True.
And then, like,
Yeah.
No, like you're like, no,
No,
you do the video.
I'll hold the
True,
camera.
true.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, like at what level would they feel like they were your bitch or you were their bitch? Like, and
I
you
mean, we
didn't
could
want that.
we could talk about artificial intelligence and how that's getting. We won't even need.
Oh, that
cloning.
shit's crazy, bro.
We won't even need cloning. These phones, bro. How they're learning our mannerisms through social media.
Yeah.
Who was it? Who's that? Ray Kurzweil, the guy who says that by the year 2029 we will achieve the singularity, where we have complete artificial
That'd be interesting.
domination.
Well, I see those robots on Facebook and shit doing backflips and whatnot. I'm like, damn.
Are you
that's
talking
cool.
about the?
Wait, what's artificial? You say
Well,
domination?
Hella
Yeah, like
So-
like the actual, basically Skynet, is what he's saying. You know, have you ever watched the Terminator, where the actual robots like rebel? They get to the point
yeah.
where
Oh,
they're
damn.
able
So
to
he's
think
saying they're
by
going to rebel?
2029.
Like
Damn,
iRobot.
goddamn.
Like
Well, no, I
iRobot.
think he says by that year, by 2029, it will get to the level where they're able to think on
The
their
conscious
own.
thinking.
But it won't be till 2045 that they actually like boom flip the switch and you know they real. Because the thing is, if you have a robot, what do you have a robot for, right? What do you have artificial intelligence to serve a purpose, to do a
Basic
task?
task.
It'd be our
Right.
slaves essentially.
And once it starts learning how to think and how to problem solve, it'll say, okay, well, what causes this problem? What causes that problem? If you think about any problem on the earth, it's been man-made.
yeah. Oh,
you know
for
what I
sure.
mean? So it's like, okay, so what's the problem? Eliminate mankind.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's
Go
the
straight to the
stuff
source
of
and yeah.
it's
yeah.
the stuff of like, you know, comic books, man. I mean, really, like
Well, you want to know what the funny part is about all this shit? This is crazy, right? We've been making movies about all this shit for a long time.
Ooh, yeah.
And those movies always end up coming true in time, right?
Yep.
right.
And so you would think like, are we kind of setting ourselves up for, or are we manifesting or creating that reality through our imagination and our direction of like energy focus? And if so, why the fuck can't we see that shit always goes bad? It's like, dude, we
Yeah.
keep creating all these scenarios that
Yeah.
go bad, and yet we're working towards that. Like, shouldn't we?
It just sucks 'cause,
reevaluate
like,
that?
I finally figured out like kind of why a lot of stuff is like that is because we're probably like 10% of the thinkers,
Mhm.
and then 90% of people are just regular people who
Oh,
just
no doubt.
the ignorance is
Yeah,
bliss.
yeah.
They're just living day by day.
Herd
and they don't-
mentality.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, okay.
We don't think about things we don't take action until it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, it's
like
dire.
If you,
fuck, we're about to, all of humanity's of shit, we got to make change.
Yeah.
if you think about it, like
Stupid.
if you look at something like as simple as like McDonald's, right? And you go to McDonald's and you have this panel screens where you can now order your food and it'll there's nobody needed there to work that panel. You just type in your order, you click the food, and then it makes your order. You pay for it with your Apple phone, which is artificial intelligence. Just double click and you Apple Pay.
You want to know what I'm enjoying though, bro? Is this fucking meal delivery service shit?
Like Postmates and all that.
Yeah, Postmates, dude. Anthony introduced me to that shit. My boy, fucking big time Tony, dude. And I was like, what the hell is this? You know, because he's 23, I'm 35, so. I mean, I'm savvy to a lot of this stuff, but only to the point where I can manipulate and use it to benefit others. Like, you know, that's how I use it. So if it comes to like personal social media, I just don't have any place for that shit because I'm like, dude, I don't want you knowing any of my fucking business. First of all, you're just judging me. We all judge each other. Looking at those things is one giant judgment. We don't even realize we're judging anymore because we think that because we're not intently focusing on something that would be judgeable to people and recognizing that, we think we're not judging.
How do you mean by like social media? Like
yeah, everything we see is a judgment. You know,
it's comparison left and right.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, you know, I use that stuff for business, dude, and that's it. I use it as a tool to generate awareness, to educate people, and to generate, you know, business for the company, so we can keep expanding and make a bigger, 100%. More positive impact. That's it.
Yeah, I always said if I was to live a more simple life where I didn't have my own brand, or I didn't have we didn't have the
social
podcast,
media would be out,
or I didn't do freelance photography where that's like my, you know, you bring in money. I wouldn't need social media. Like, and I thought about like, would I even have it? Like, what's the point? I have a personal account where I post like pictures of me and my family. Bro, I haven't posted another in like a while. Like
they probably think you're dead. They're like,
yeah, I have no. I just don't. I don't know, man. Maybe it was that rush of just having too much social media that has desensitized me to it. I'm just like, hey, what's the point of it?
Bro, listen to this shit. It's hella funny because you know you see so much stuff on there that you just have to shake your head at, laugh. Like it's an emotional roller coaster. Social media. That's why people love it so much because it's free entertainment, and you can't get entertainment like that because it's random.
Yeah,
it's not like none of it's planned. You know, when people do shit. This lady the other day, and you know, on Facebook, I have close to like 5,000 friends, and half of them are Nigerian dudes pretending to be hot chicks that fucking friend request you, and then you look at their profile and you're like, this motherfucker is black, dude. Like it shows on his thing that he's in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And so they start writing me messages, and the English sucks, and so I just fuck with them, dude. I just write hella stupid, funny shit. I had this one guy convinced that I was gonna Western Union $10 million to him, dude, over there. And he thought it was for real. I was gonna do that. So he went and checked it, and he's like, the money's not here. And I was like, check it again. And then I wrote him afterwards. I was like, bro, do you think it's cool that you try and scam all these people and you think I'm an idiot?
Well, his profile was like a hot chick. Like,
yeah, you know, I mean, and people get scammed by that. That's why it exists.
Yeah.
Things don't exist unless they work. So otherwise they find something new, right? So, and I know stories of people that have gotten scammed like for $45,000.
It's always older people too, because it's like,
well, this one was, there was a girl that was a lesbian who was a roommate of this girl that used to work with us, and she was telling me a story about how her roommate lost all of her money because apparently lesbians fall really hard in love, is what I was told. I didn't know. I don't. By the way, on this podcast, just so that everyone out there knows, like, my girlfriend's Mexican, my brother-in-law is black. I am not racist. I am not sexist.
Disclaimer.
I am not against any of that shit, but at all. I love all people. If you're a bad person, then
fuck off.
Boom. That's it. If you're a good person, I don't give a shit about any of your other personal stuff.
I was wondering why he said lesbian. I was like, does the lesbian part tie into this story?
No, that's what it is. So no, because they fall hard in love. And so what happened was this person over there, and it was in Nigeria, convinced this girl, made up a fake profile and stuff, you know, that she was over there on some sort of like religious retreat doing work over there and stuff, convinced her to that they were going to be in love, you know, and they fell in love over online, right? And so, but her roommate kept sending her all this information showing her that it was fake. Like, look, you got to read all these articles. Like, still didn't believe it because she was in love, right? It was an emotional thing. That's tough, bro.
That's
and
scary.
So she sent this person $45,000, all of her life savings, and that person sent her some gift cards, and she said that they were going to do some sort of way to make money together by doing that, swapping up, but the gift cards had nothing on it. So she sent like $45,000, and I don't know what the total story was or something, but yeah, so she lost all of her money because of that. So But yeah, I mean, back to the
45.
Oh, dude, bro, can you imagine? And she was devastated. It sucks, dude. So I fuck with those people on there a bit. But yeah, I mean, like back to the followers things, dude. It's like, you know, social media, like I have close to 5,000 followers on there. I got to get rid of a bunch because they're probably fake. But this one chick, you know, and they're all people I don't know. Bro.
Yeah.
How the fuck you gonna? I have a lot of friends, bro.
I've got
I've made a lot of friends.
I've got 1,600 friends, bro. And I'm gonna be honest, I maybe only added like 200 or 300 that I have met or known in real life.
Yeah.
The rest of them came from a Bernie Sanders campaign I did in 2016. I did like a video that went kind of semi-viral on Facebook, and then people just freaking sending me messages and
yeah. So I'm flipping through it the other day, right? Because I have to for work, you know. And I see this lady, and I thought it was gonna be like a what is like a meme? Is that what it is? That shit
yeah.
do? I thought it was gonna be a meme, but no, it was her, and she had taken a selfie of herself in the hospital, and she had a neck brace on. She was all fucked up, dude, like just like attached to all these. And you just want to let everyone know, you couldn't see her mouth or eyes, anything. Like she was in bad shape. I got into a car crash and blah blah blah. I'm like, you're in the fucking hospital. Like the people that care about you, which are not those people on Facebook, like you need to contact them and have them come visit you.
Give them
like,
a call.
I don't know you from the person I walk past on the street, and now I know all your personal life. You know, like that shit's silly, dude. People, they don't respect each other's privacy. It's becoming a shit show. It's all argumentative, dude, and
it's a psychosis,
a waste of fucking
man.
time, dude. Really,
it's a psychosis. Like if you think about it, like social media has made everything about people. Like it's made everything about me.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I post everything.
Makes people feel special.
Validation.
Yes, that validation is one of the biggest things.
Powerful,
like, bro,
dude.
I've been to places where I'm working on either like a photo shoot, video shoot, something, and people are like, instead of focusing on like, hey, let's get this shoot done, let's focus here, let's move equipment over here, instead of working, they're like recording themselves working. We're out here getting it, you know.
Or how about the people that have died from fucking selfie pictures, dude? That have gone to take like an extreme selfie and fall
about, like,
off
the
a cliff and shit.
The thrill seekers, like the ones that go to the top of buildings?
I'm talking just normal people, dude, that like they've accounted that will go travel in a different country and they'll go to lean off a cliff to take a selfie and fall. They've had stories about that shit. I'm like, you got to be half stupid to fucking risk your life over a stupid ass selfie.
Yeah, like,
I'll say this right.
It?
I'll say this right now, though, on camera, man. I'll say this right now.
Wow.
I think that's just another form of natural selection.
Yeah, that was what I was saying.
Yo, if you're gonna like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's different,
people, bro.
Maybe it's different because there are people who are thrill seekers. Like they are going for that adrenaline.
Yeah.
And they go to the top of these, skyscrapers, bro.
Yeah.
And they're literally like, doing black flips.
Black flips.
They're doing.
Is that a really high backflip? Because a black person did a backflip.
It's a really
that's a real thing,
flip,
you know. Yeah. Black people, African Americans, whatever, they can jump higher. They're more athletic, bro. I mean, it's dope. It's dope. I love it. Fuck it, dude.
That reminds me of that Friday movie when remember next Friday, black men can jump.
Oh, next Friday.
Was it next Friday?
Oh no, was it the one with the white dude and Wesley Snipes? Who's the white dude in there?
It was on Wesley Snipes.
What was that? White men
can't jump. Yeah, was it that movie?
No, I think he was talking about something.
That's an old movie. It's hella funny. You should watch that, dude.
That's really good.
We're talking about
the old movies are the best movies, bro, because they didn't have all that fucking CGI and all that. I mean, you had to act. Now you don't even have to act. You just have to look good, and they can cut and edit everything, bro.
You want to know what's crazy is the entire MTV era, right? Like you talk about movies who have an edit every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
They call it the MTV era because everything is very fast paced. But you look at a movie that was done in like the 30s, 40s, and 50s, where it's like black and white,
like The Godfather.
Yes. Well, even before The Godfather, like we're talking way back in the day. There's scenes that are just 10, 15 minutes of a one shot.
Yeah.
The one shot, and it's just people
the camera
talking.
Stays right there. And
it's just people talking, but it's so because of the way they
like
act.
Old Western movies did a lot of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Black and white.
And because of the way they talk, they're so engaging, man, and it captivates me, man.
Yeah.
I think that's why Clerks is always the one I go back to, like one of the Kevin Smith's first movies.
Yeah.
Both, like, especially the first one. It's literally done in a gas station, and it's black and white.
Yeah.
And it's like just how they talk to each other, and
it's totally
I'm
different.
Like, whoa, this is crazy. Like this is tight though.
It is.
There's another movie like literally. Damn, I can't even remember what it's called, but it's like two people in a room talking the whole movie. Literally.
Well, Quentin Tarantino did a good one of that with Crazy 8. Was it the one?
Oh, Eight Crazy Nights. That's
the one with the cowboys. I don't
where
wanna
they're
spoil
all
it.
kind of
the Hateful Eight.
That was really
yeah,
Hateful
yeah.
Eight. Yeah.
yeah.
I haven't
'Cause-
watched that.
And like you just said, like my dad said the same thing. He's like, that's how all Western movies used to be.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of dialogue, which is
Yeah.
tight because like that was a really
Oh,
good
dude,
movie.
you gotta if you're a movie fanatic, you know, and you really like can get into that and see the little finite details of you know the perfection that they had to try and achieve to make that shit happen. Like you can really appreciate those older movies.
Mhm.
Not that it doesn't take a lot, because it takes a lot and a lot of people to make some of these newer movies. It does. It's amazing. It's an incredible thing, dude. You need like a fucking small army to create some of
Yeah,
these
no
movies.
doubt.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at
But
those. Look
it's
at
just
those. Look at
different.
those end credits, man. You gotta
Yeah, I
sit.
know.
It's a whole show, bro. You gotta. And imagine if you had to watch name by name. Like
Yeah.
nowadays, they've gotten
Because
6
they were
columns
slower.
of names.
They were
Yeah.
slower before, and
They
got
were
faster
slower.
over time.
They were slower, and they also there was just a single line. Now they have
Yeah.
like 4 columns of
Yeah.
names. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, yo, we're gonna waste
Yeah.
10 seconds. Like if we just
You have to go in the Blu-ray specials to see the rest of the credits. Like, god damn, there's so many.
to see the
It's a
full
3
cast.
disc.
What's your favorite kind of movie, man?
I'm definitely an adventure
Kung
movie
fu?
person. I do like some martial arts movies, but you know, some of them are kind of
Over
corny.
exaggerated.
What about Ip
Yeah.
Man? What about Ip Man?
Hitman? Oh, Hitman's dope as fuck.
Love that shit.
For sure.
Bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like a little bit of everything in life, dude. I mean, there's things I prefer over other things, but I wouldn't say that I dislike something and like something. I would just say that I just don't, you know, I'm not into that as much. But sci-fi movies, anything that's imaginative, creative. I like movies like The Last Samurai with who was it? Tom Cruise. Movies that are really like done well, where it's a really really good story and it's a very long movie, like the Hobbit movies, Lord of the Rings movies.
I love Hobbit.
Yeah,
But those are movies that completely transport you to a different time.
Yeah,
bro.
The
Like, you watch it,
Matrix.
kind of like watching Game of Thrones, right? Like you watch it and you're like, yo, somebody had to sit there and think of doing this because this is not something that you just put together.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
I'm an old soul, bro. So I'm not interested in like that meaningless kind of like quick fix, like bing bang boom type shit. I'm more of a romantic. I want a movie to like pull me in, emotionally captivate me, dude, and make me believe it. That's why I don't like horror movies, because they're so fucking fake. I'm like, you just got out of that house and then you went back in, and in the house was where the killer was. Or they'll have this one killer who's blind and deaf. Like me and my girlfriend were watching this one movie. The dude was
The old guy.
was blind, but he could hear, and he had really good hearing, and he was kind of buffed out. So I was like, yeah, that dude might fuck a few of them up. But you know, even if he is blind, but you know, there was like 5 of them, and I'm like, jump his ass, and they didn't. And then the dude ends up killing like 3 or 4 of them. A couple of them make it out, and then they go back in. I'm like, "Fuck is wrong with you?"
I think I know which one you're talking
Dude
about.
is
Yeah,
blind. He
that
can't
one
even
guy.
get out of the house, but he knows how to shoot, and he
But
can hear hella well.
he was a veteran or something.
Yeah. He had
Yeah.
a military background
Yeah.
of some sort, according to the movie, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm an event. I'm same thing with video games. I game all the time. I love it. I'm so busy, but when I have free time, then
What's
I'm
your
not
game?
chilling with my girl. I'm finishing up the newest Assassin's Creed,
Oh,
and then
okay.
I got the God of War 3. I still haven't opened up. It's sitting on my shelf.
I got it in my room right now. I passed it already.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, my friends
Was
did
it God of War
too.
3 or 4? It's 4, right?
The brand new one, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
6.
and then no, Assassin's Creed's on like 7 or 8,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
But and then I have Red Dead 2 chilling on my thing. I have Spider-Man, the newest Spider-Man, chilling on my thing. These are games I haven't even played, because Assassin's Creed's a long game, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm not like my best friend Kyle. I grew up, I was like 4 years old. We've known each other like 31 years. He's a completionist to the max. So when he plays Assassin's Creed, he gets every
He's
single
going to every single crevice and fucking thing.
everything
to find.
you can
I'm like,
get, bro.
Yeah.
And if
gotten
you've ever
every
played
trophy.
Assassin's Creed, the map is massive. And
Yeah.
this newest one, it is fucking just insanely massive.
Yeah.
So it's just massive. So, but yeah, and then what other game? Oh, I have Just Cause 3 chilling there. I mean, my favorite games, dude, like that are probably almost of all time, and I've been playing since I was a little kid, like 4 years old, dude. And imagine I'm 35, so we had some shitty shit back then, bro. And
Yeah,
but-
ping pong.
yeah,
Pong.
yeah. With duck hunt and all that shit, dude.
I've had that though.
And those
It's
games,
dope.
those games
Good
changed the
times.
game
Yeah,
Yeah.
way
but
before
but
the
I
Wii
like.
U.
Have you guys ever played Dark Souls or Demon Souls
Yeah,
games?
those are my favorite.
And Bloodborne.
Because
Gotta be up there with my top 3
Because
favorite.
if you beat that game, you feel so accomplished.
Oh,
You're like, oh my fucking god, because
It's a hard
The
game.
man is not lying,
You
bro.
just keep getting
Wait, is that the game you were showing me where you get killed like in 5 seconds? 'Cause
and you
everybody
get
else
sent
was-
back.
Bro.
Because like that's the thing
Oh
when
my
you make
Hardest games I've ever played.
when
bro.
you spend 3 hours to get to the boss and then your ass gets killed,
You feel it.
you get salty. You're like,
Yeah.
nah, I gotta beat it now because I
Yeah.
got to him.
It's,
So I got-
yeah. Well, let me tell you. Did you ever play the original Demon Souls, the very 1st one? Okay, so Dark Souls, you get checkpoints at these little fire
Yep.
pits, right? And usually you get one before you fight a boss. Demon Souls, the very first one, and I don't know if they remastered it, but dude, if you like those games, you got to go back and play it. Demon Souls, the very first one, you get a checkpoint after you beat a boss. And so it takes you about 35 to 40 minutes to get to that boss, right? And you have to defeat all the enemies along the way. And then you die because the boss is fucking insane. You're like, what the fuck is this? And you're running around.
Damn. So you have to play. You have to
You have to
gameplay
kill the
over
boss.
and over again. To get
Then
to
you
that
got to
first
go
boss.
all the way back to your first checkpoint, dude. And all those enemies reappear.
Yeah.
And then you lose your souls, which is basically your currency in the game.
Yeah.
And you got to go back and get those souls before you die again. Otherwise,
You lose them all.
You lose all of them, and then the pre-existing ones you have, they
I
appear.
used to think about things like that. Like I was like, there should be a game where like once you die, your game just like your disc burns.
And you have to
Yeah.
buy it again.
You gotta buy it again. You know.
Yeah.
And I think
I'd be
that's as
so
close
salty.
as you get
No,
to it, where you gotta
yeah.
start
No,
all
fuck
over.
it, dude. You don't get to buy it ever again.
they ban your name from
You
the
got one
list.
shot. Oh, bro, but that's real. There was a game I was playing for the PS one called Xenogears, and it was like a
Yeah, I
3-disc
remember
one,
that.
just kind of like the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
And I got to a point because it was something with the saving on it to where you could only save so many times and then you're fucked. So it was like, so I got to these end bosses, dude, and I couldn't beat them. And oh no, what it was is once you enter into this end boss realm, you can't go back out. And you're only fighting like 8 end bosses, one at a time, one after another. So every gear that you have, you can't up it anymore. You can't go back and get more supplies. And it was so, and this game is one of those like 300-hour long games, bro, right? And so what happened is I got to that place, couldn't beat those bosses after weeks of trying, right? Like weeks of
Yeah.
hours a day. And so I had to restart the game because I couldn't go back to a save point to where it would access anything because all my save points were in
That's
that.
next level, bro.
Damn, you should have.
And then I replayed that shit
Yeah.
and I did it again and I fucking beat it, dude. I don't give up on hard games, bro.
Yeah.
That shit motivates me. The
Yeah.
harder
Yeah.
the challenge, the more motivation
I
it
have
gives
to
me,
be.
bro.
So, well, see, I can't even say that because I quit some. What is it?
He said, "Whoop! I forgot what I was gonna say."
The fucking dungeon keeper. That shit got, like strategic based games like
Yeah.
StarCraft or any of those. Like there's like a new one. It's not dungeon keeper, but it's the same type of play, bro. I was like, I only got to like the 7th level, and I couldn't. I was like, yo, I've spent 5 hours on this level. I was like, how do you beat it? It's only like the 6th level. I was like, this game, because I play all my games on the hardest.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'll do at least hard. I won't like if there's like 5 difficulty levels. Some of them you got to earn. You got to beat the game on one
Yeah.
difficulty to
Like God of
No,
War.
see, I
that
do
shit was
intermediate.
stupid.
I do intermediate just to get through the storyline.
Yeah.
But then once I really like, okay, I want a challenge.
You
then
go
I
back
go on,
for
on
it.
God mode, bro. Oh my god,
Bro,
yo,
we
were there, right?
Every monster on God of War, like on
The
the,
low-level
easiest mode,
weaklings.
you can hit them in one hit and they die. On the
Right.
one we were playing, it literally took like 4 minutes for each monster, and this was just the first monsters.
Yeah,
so we
no,
were
no.
like,
So like to take down the easiest level monster was like it took you maybe like 2, 3, 4 minutes long,
Dang.
and then your health was already at half level.
And there's, like, three
because
other
because
ones.
you can't defend against it,
Yeah.
right? So it's like and then the 2 more will come at the
I
same
heard
time.
the Valkyries are difficult in there. That's what my friend was telling me.
Yeah,
on the new
bro,
one.
I haven't even played the
it's
Valkyries.
like Devil May Cry.
You,
one of
you
them
play
was
that
just-
after you
yeah.
pass the game, you go back and you kill the Valkyries.
See, I never replay a game, dude. I'll rewatch movies. I'm the same thing with traveling when I go somewhere because I've been to a lot of different countries in the world, and some of
What's
my
your
friends have
favorite?
been to pretty much all of them. Well, my favorite continent is Europe, but my favorite country is hard to say because there's so many beautiful things about all of them, bro. Like,
Got it.
Which
you
one has
know-
the best food? That's how you narrow it down.
yeah, I gotta say, to be honest, France had some amazing food, dude. Greece did. Italy had some amazing food.
I would have believed that.
Pretty much anywhere because they actually make the food natural and from scratch.
Yeah.
So it's great. It reinvigorates you, gives you energy like that. And, and their culture is different. Like you guys know if you've traveled, but I mean, in the US, like there's this misconception that the whole world is dangerous and it sucks and we're better than everyone, but we're the fucking laughing, we're the butt end of the joke. The rest of the world's laughing at us, dude,
Yeah.
because We got a bunch of idiot, people that are doing the dumbest shit to become famous, and we're just a bunch of clowns, bro.
Yeah.
In their eyes, and I don't blame them because
we're easier to sell to at that point.
Oh, dude, we think the biggest problem is it's like that person that thinks they're the greatest,
right?
But you know that they're just a dumbass.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how that's how our country, like the people in our country,
we're
are.
Kanye West.
No, yeah,
I would say life is bliss though. When you're ignorant, life is bliss. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because think about it. If you don't know better, you're living you're living your best life.
Yeah, and the problem is we live on a planet where we all have to share that energy in that space. So if we don't elevate our level of consciousness and make us into better people, it directly impacts the rest of the world. And then not only that, but a lot of countries, unfortunately, they learn from us and then they do things that we do, and that's not good, man. That's not good because we're not setting a good example. This country has the opportunity to set a good example, and the people, can do that, but they, as far as politics and as far as the corporations and shit like that, they ain't setting a good example. It's very rare that shit's happening, but on a fundamental level, the people in these other countries, bro, they're truly happy. We got some miserable fucks here in this country, dude. Miserable. And we have everything, and we're miserable because happiness is something that you have to, it's a seed that you got to water. You have to practice. You got to tend to that shit, but it definitely bears some amazing, fruit, but it's hard work, dude. And in this country, people, they just want the quick fix most of the time, dude. They're willing to grind it out at their 9 to 5 and not go chase their dreams and then complain that they don't have enough money and shit when they live in a country where other countries you can't even start your own business. They don't even allow that shit.
Yeah.
So, it's a lazy and a piss poor excuse to not, and improving as a person is difficult. That's the most difficult thing you can do in life. You could conquer the world, be a billionaire. That's not shit compared to conquering yourself, dude. It's not. Conquering yourself takes lifetimes. It's an evolutionary process.
How many billionaires and millionaires probably have done suicide because they're just not happy?
Yeah, a lot of people with money do that shit, dude. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's an interesting world we live in, dude. It's constantly changing. Everything's constantly changing.
You mentioned being a spiritual warrior.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Core. Well, I was born an old soul, so I could feel energies, like people's energies. When I was a little kid, my mom had to tell me to not say the things that I was saying to other little kids because I was asking them questions talking about like their inner self, and I could feel their energy. I could feel some of their thoughts, and still to this day that has never left because it's not something you can shut off. I've tried to shut it off because sometimes it sucks, dude. You know what I mean? Being an empath, but either way, so I was always born kind of almost knowing what I was supposed to do, not from like a destiny standpoint, but from like an objective standpoint, like why my soul came here. And so, it's been a rough ride, dude, because it's not easy to express that in a world that doesn't understand that. And it's also not easy to find. There's no book. It's not like you come here and your soul's like, oh, here's your book. Here's your pamphlet, by the way, your fucking owner's manual, right? You can, so you know what to do. It ain't like that, dude. So you got to figure it out, but, and that's the difficulty because dealing with people and trying to help them, but realizing that they don't always want help. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they just want to be in the situation they're in, and you got to respect that. So anyway, the things that I do with Harmonious CBD is just a part of my process. I'm going to be a public speaker, dude. I've already written books. They just haven't been published, because it's not ready yet.
What sort of? I can't even talk today, huh? what sort of books have you been writing about? Like what topics?
You would consider them like in a self-help category, I suppose. But to me, it's more like a universal truth Bible. Just like speaking about truths that we all share that are universal, because opinion is subjective. Mm-hmm. We can say, oh, this is true, that is true. Science can say this, that, or the other, but it's all subjective, right? It's all based on perception and everything. But there are, fixed laws to this universe. Gravity is an example on this planet, right? That is a fairly decent example of something that we all have to share and abide by. Obviously, there are certain restrictions, and then there's ways to overcome those restrictions. But universally, we're all sharing the same energy. And if there's truths to that energy, and if there's certain things that we can learn about to help ourselves become more free, because in this reality we're confined to this body, we're confined to these senses, we're confined to this ego and this mind. But that's not freedom. Within confinement, there's not freedom. So if we can learn how to free ourselves, then we can move more freely around the universe and manifest what we want within certain constraints. If we're doing it for the right reason, you're given you're privy to more power if you're doing it for the right reason. Because if you're doing it for the wrong reason, that's going to try and destruct things and take things over, and then nothing would exist. So that has less power. So anyway, I just talk about stuff on a fundamental level for people to understand.
Yeah.
All that. And then on a deeper level, but put it in context. You know, all the great leaders and masters that have been on this planet, you know, whoever they were, sages, everybody, they're talking the same fucking thing. It's just they're saying it in a different way. But the meaning and the wisdom, the information they're getting is coming from the same source. And they're literally, if they could get together, they go, yeah, we're saying the same exact thing. It's just he's Buddhist, I'm, you know, Jesus Christ, and he's, you know, like Muhammad, or, you know, any of these, like that's all they would say. We're just different people from different parts of the world, but we're all speaking the same exact thing. It's just a language that you can't necessarily interpret verbally or intellectually because we're confined to this. It's something you have to feel.
Yeah.
And to feel that, you have to feel it from within. So to teach people how to get in tune with that, and things that they can practice to do that, and avenues for them to explore themselves, and just to point them in the right direction, let them know, like, look, I don't know if you know this, but you're going to die, and nobody's coming with you, right? And you were born, and nobody came with you then either. So this is your journey. If you don't start focusing on it, you're gonna have to come back again if you believe in reincarnation, or you're gonna stunt yourself. You know, do you want to be locked up and shackled by this body and this reality, this level of consciousness your whole life, or do you want to be free? So and that is what a spiritual warrior is. Anybody that attempts to do that stuff, that's aware of that stuff, that wants to help other people do that stuff. But the problem is that that's the most difficult thing to do out of everything in the whole universe, from my experience. And we all
you got to
know
keep it real with yourself, and it's not that easy.
There's a lot of stuff that you got to break down, dude. Your ego and everything.
You got to be very open-minded about that stuff.
You got to be ready to be humiliated.
We've talked to Rosemary, and she's kind of briefly touched the whole empath, and you know, like I don't know. I've been seeing this big rush lately when it comes to like people who are now getting into crystals. You know, like people are getting into those tuning forks where like the vibrations or they hit. You know, they feel the vibration. They feel like they're a certain kind of, like you said, you were an empath. You know what I mean? Like what? I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
That stuff's interesting, bro, because you know I'm Reiki level 2 certified. So, and since a kid, I was always playing with energy, trying to heal. You know,
what's Reiki?
Reiki is a Japanese energy healing, and essentially, and there's probably multiple stories behind, and there's different masters, you know, and they're all descendants of others. But
I think we had Ash talk about that, huh?
Yeah.
A
few people.
Yeah, from the original aspect, I think it was during warring times. This guy who was healing people, like they would have broken legs. He'd, you know, because I think it was during the war when Japan and China were at war with each other, kind of like the Yip Man time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was going around just using his energy to reset bones, to fucking heal wounds and shit. And so just through, you know, projecting energy, healing energy from his hands, and using certain visualization symbols that mean something in Japanese, right? I believe it's Japanese.
You said using visualization symbols. What do you mean? Like they were doing things with their hands? Like
no,
starting to sound like an anime where you're like,
no, yeah. No, it's not the Final Fantasy thing where he's like, and he pieces together, No, it's more like a visualization to because those are symbols of empowerment. Essentially, certain people send, you know, healers and guiders and stuff send energy to those symbols, and you can use those symbols to then draw upon that energy to facilitate and kind of channel the healing. So anyway, but I did that. I fucked with crystals and Tibetan singing bowls, tons of chi machines. I grew up around that shit. My mom had all that, dude. I mean, she made you think you had a problem when you didn't have a problem, because she's presenting you with all that stuff. I'm like, Mom, I'm fine. She's like, no, you got to try this. I'm like, but for what? Like, I'm cool. There's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, but I learned about all that shit. So, yeah, dude, it's matter of fact, I'm doing tomorrow I'm doing a podcast with Rosemary at 9 a.m. We're gonna talk about a bunch of spiritual stuff. Yeah,
Rosemary.
I was gonna say Reiki or CBD.
Oh, CBD for sure, bro. Reiki's cool. I've had acupuncture done. I've tried everything, bro. And I'm a skeptic too, because you have to be. I mean, you can be spiritual and whimsical, but that can be foolish. You need to have some sort of checks and balances. And for me, it's science, it's logic. I rely upon logic a lot. Like if something doesn't logically make sense, but I also use my truthometer inside of here, because this is the cool thing that people are going to learn about this, is that there's no such thing as a lie. It doesn't exist. Energy, you imprint on energy your intention, your meaning, the truth, essentially. But it can be covered up. But that doesn't mean that it's not there at all times. So if I'm reading the Bible, for instance, right, because I was baptized Catholic and I'm not a religious person, but I can read that Bible and I can feel which components of that, which words, which sentences, paragraphs, pages, chapters were truth. Were coming from somebody that was channeling that information to help others. And then I can feel which ones were human. So if you, for instance, and I were having a conversation and I had been around you, you know, for a little bit and kind of felt you out, like I could pick up on some of your thoughts before you say them. And also know if you're lying, regardless of how good, you know, it's not like I mean, you can pick up on subtleties in people's, you know, facial expression, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
But it's a conglomerate of those things, but you can feel that shit, dude. And it's crazy. So you can't lie, you know, and if people became sensitive to that, then everybody would be held accountable. And then they would be better people because they would realize the benefits of telling the truth, and there would be no way to lie to them. You know, and all human beings are capable of that shit. They just have to elevate their level of consciousness and tune into it. And if they can do that, we can change everything, bro. Not only that, but we can impact the universe way more positively. So there's really cool stuff about spiritual things, you know what I mean? And some of it's just fad, trend shit, you know what I mean? And those type of people. I think some people are psychologically confused, to be honest, into thinking they're experiencing certain things that they're not.
Yeah.
And I think they just can't decipher logically between, like, is this real that's happening to me or is it not? And that's hard.
That's why I feel like I can't get into meditation, because I sit there. I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be feeling something. And I was, but maybe I am. But then it doesn't feel genuine to me. You know what I mean? Like,
I meditate. You know, it's funny because this dude supposedly came from India, right? And he came into my parents' tile store, and I met him one day, and he's, you know, was a self-proclaimed guru master, right, from India. And
sounds like a cult leader.
Well, interesting. Yeah.
He said, "I'm getting to that."
Yeah. So he and I'm not saying that it's always this way, but there's a lot of gurus in India and a lot of people that try and make a business off of it. And I'm not a stupid, bro.
There was a guy that came to the U.S. and he had his own cult. He had like entire
Oh, I
city.
I saw that.
There was a Netflix documentary about it. I had no idea about it, bro.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Netflix documentaries that are coming out now.
Yeah.
Like the one. Who was that murder that the what's it called, that psychopath?
Jeffrey Dahmer?
No, it was after him.
Oh no.
Anyways,
I don't pay too much attention to those fucks.
It literally just came out on Netflix, and I was watching. I was like, this was all happening in the 70s and 80s. I was like, whoa.
What happened?
Yeah.
It's just a dude who was like, he was just a natural guy. Like, he had a real job. He was actually pretty successful for his age. He was a good looking dude. He went to school. His parents were very loving, had a great childhood, always had friends, did great in school. And then he just had a fascination for murdering women.
Was he white?
Yeah.
That's the problem, bro. I'm not racist, but I'm telling you, white people are crazy, dude. Like,
yeah, no.
I mean, if you look at every single mass shooting, it was a white person. Like, you know, I mean, I know some terrorists have done some shit, but only white people will do some fucked up shit like that and go into a school and start shooting people up, or a mass shooting like what happened down here in Vegas. Like, dude, you gotta be psychologically deranged. You know, I think it's a multitude of things. I think part of it is genetic, not a large percentage of it, but I think that, you know, white people are more affluent generally, so they're susceptible to the string pullers and their propaganda and their products, you know, per se, whether it's an opiate or whether it's just things that affluency can afford you, and they're you know, generally very religious, you know, and it's usually a religion that is you know, corrupt, which, like, most of them are, not all of them, but because they can afford that affluency. You feel me?
I was gonna say, do you think it comes to not a white privilege, but like kind of like the whole you can do no wrong?
Yeah, sure. You know, I mean, that definitely exists. You know what I mean? I'm Italian and Irish, but I see the white privilege thing because in business circumstances, people talk to me differently than people that are not, and I think it's fucked up and stupid. I think that if you're qualified and you're a good human being, you deserve the same attention as anybody, despite any of those things. You know, it's just stupid. But the one thing, you know, it also is that, you know, with them doing that kind of crazy shit, is it's family situation. White people don't have good families anymore, you know, the majority of them. When I was growing up, everybody's family was tight. Like, the neighbors raised you and stuff. It was very Latin, you know, kind of like, you know, but then as soon as that affluency happened and that social media and shit kicked in, dude, it went by the wayside. They didn't have morals. They're very, plus they went into fear mode too, like, because
everybody would just separate it.
Yeah,
I have
all
my
for
corner of the
themselves.
world and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Don't cross my
Yeah.
walls, right?
And then that dynamic happens within the families too, and then the kids grow up in that shit, and you know, these parents that sit there and they go, I have no idea why my son went and shot up a school. He was such an angel. I'm like, you're fucking full of shit, or you're
Delusional,
stupid.
Yeah.
Because you have to see those things. That's not something that just triggers overnight. That develops. That's a serious mental illness.
Yeah.
You know, it takes time to get to that level where you want to go up in a school and just start letting off on people with automatic weapons, bro.
Mhm.
I mean, I understand bullying and all that stuff because I'm a martial artist. You know, I was a kung fu instructor and talked with Chuck about it. You know, did a lot of jujitsu. I box. Like I've taught adults, kids, and I also through personal training, you know, did a lot of classes for kids, like speed school stuff, just sports specific stuff. So I'm around a lot of kids. I love kids, dude. I don't have any of my own. I just love to have fun with them and send them home, bro, because I'm a big ass kid myself. But the responsibility of having one, dude, you as a person, as a human being, you got to know that you have to give them your all, dude. Like, that's the biggest responsibility you can have in life is raising somebody and guiding them and not trying to control them and honoring what their soul came here to do. And dude, I would say that like 90% of people in the world are not ready for that, qualified for that.
Oh yeah, I feel that
you know.
myself, bro. I know the amount of responsibility that it takes to produce another child, like another person that is gonna be here after you're gone. That's a big responsibility, and I feel
Huge,
it's just so easy to have children that everybody just
well,
does
think
it,
about it this way, bro. Like those kids, okay? An adult is different. Like the guy that shot up people in that Vegas mass shooting, that's different. You know, he's an adult, right? Well, supposedly, none of us fucking know who that was, really, because there's no way of knowing. But you know, and with the way the government does shit, bro, they could easily have
That's a whole
framed
other
or covered
conspiracy
someone
right
up.
there.
Yeah, that's
people don't like that conspiracy because it's close to home.
Yeah,
but it's like,
that's
yo,
why they need to pay attention to it more than anything, because that's fucking important, dude. They need to open their eyes.
I think
bro.
I think the reason people get offended by it is because you say that, you know, the Vegas mass shooting was a conspiracy. There's a conspiracy behind it, and when people think of conspiracy, they think, oh, so it didn't really happen, and they have friends who were affected by that. Like, we're not saying it didn't happen. We're just saying the facts of what have been presented.
Yeah, we're trying to prove.
a little shaky.
It's like 9/11.
You know?
Like, we know it happened.
Yeah,
that building,
for sure.
that building's gone.
But when you look at the videos and you see controlled explosions going off, and you see you know how strong those buildings are, dude. You know how thick that steel is, bro. Those things are made to withstand massive earthquakes, massive everything, because of the liability if one of those things goes down, dude. The freaking engineers and architects for those things, bro, they double, quadruple check their their shit. And the thing is when you watch it and a plane crashes into something, and first of all, you're like, damn, dude, that guy's got to be a pilot to manipulate his way through other buildings, certain altitudes to hit that on that big of a bird, dude. That's not easy, bro.
Yeah.
Not just anybody can do that shit. It's not a small plane. It's not a fighter jet. But then it hits the building, and you watch the videos, and then it's still standing. If it's going to go down, it's going to go down from that impact. Steel melts at a certain temperature, but when you then watch the controlled explosions and how that building drops straight down.
Looks like a demo.
Bro, that's a demo. It's fucking obvious it's a demo.
I was gonna ask you, what's your favorite conspiracy, but
well, my girlfriend, because she has so many damn conspiracies, she loves to dude, I swear to God, if you guys had her on here and talk conspiracy, she would fucking blow this
just
podcast
do an entire episode.
The whole thing.
Yeah, let's book her, bro.
She I swear to God, she watches every single morning. She watches conspiracy videos before she goes to school every morning. Every morning, dude, like without stop. Like if I had that kind of dedication in anything that I did, I'd be a superstar by now, dude. I mean, I got some dedication, but that's some serious dedication. And but yeah, as far as like, I mean, there's so many good ones, bro. I mean, you know, like the JFK thing. I mean, you know, the moon landing thing, bro. Back then, we didn't have the technology. We couldn't even speculate for what we were getting ourselves into out of the atmosphere, bro. Let alone leave the atmosphere.
Yeah, I feel there's a lot of things.
You know what I'm saying, bro? And then land on the moon when we don't even know what the fuck is out there. Like, yeah,
we don't even know our ocean.
Exactly. We haven't even explored the vast majority of our ocean yet. We're able to go out into outer space. And let me just say this: why haven't we been out there? And
why not go back?
Why
not build a fucking McDonald's on there,
Hasn't
bro?
our technology? I bet you, if we ever do go up there, bro, McDonald's will be the first damn business.
This is the thing, okay? This is the thing. This is what. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a bunch of logical factors to it, you know, and the data that's been erased and shit. But this is the thing, bro. there's a ton of countries in this world, right? And they're all very, very well, advanced as far as their technology goes. So what's keeping them from saying, hey, fuck it, we're going to go check out the moon?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's different if our country wants to hide that shit, but why wouldn't they be going and doing that stuff? It's in everybody's best interest in every country to fucking go to outer space and to visit like a dead planet or whatever that's right there.
I know they tried and they hit a wall.
Yeah.
Oh, shit's fake.
Yeah. Oh, damn. But the Americans were hella good. No wonder why our fucking like Hollywood and shit's so advanced, bro, because we started with the moon landing.
Well, if you talk about the moon landing, it ties into the whole flat earth conspiracy, because there's this whole thing, conspiracies that says like all the space programs for every single country, USA included, like all these they're supposed to be different entities, different corporations. They're not in any cooperate. Yeah, they're not in any really. They have the same symbol. Like if you look at their actual logo, they have the same, or they have this one thing that's in every single symbol. Like what is that? So it's one of those things.
Then there's the Freemason thing. I'm fascinated by that because I was at ATO, so I was in a frat house, and
what's ATO?
Alpha Tau Omega. Anyway,
Okay.
it's a national chapter of and I went to the one up at UNR for a while, and we did some crazy shit. Not like party, all that. Yeah, that's normal. That's college life. That's fraternity life and sorority life. But I'm talking like the stuff that they had been perfecting and developing, the mind fucks, the whole system for hundreds of years, dude. And they were pros at that shit, dude. You really thought that you were participating in stuff when you weren't, and this mattered, but it really didn't in the end. I mean, they built a reality around you that was like even the strongest minded couldn't figure out that was it, because plus you were trying to get into the house. But either way, a lot of those guys became Freemasons, and you see Freemason chapters everywhere, dude. In a city,
I think there's one in Charleston.
Oh,
yeah.
There's probably 4 or 5 there, bro. This is what I'm talking about. They're everywhere.
Can we explain what a Freemason is?
Illuminati.
Dude, I mean, Freemasons are supposedly, protectors of the free world, essentially, and they have secrets, and it's a secret society, and it's supposed to help maintain balance in this world, in this human, kind of just manufactured world that we live in. So, but yeah, dude, I mean, I this one girl who. My girlfriend and I were in North Carolina, and one of her cousins' girlfriends, who's white, and her family's Mexican. They're all Mexican over there. But one of her cousins has a girlfriend that's white, and she's a really cool girl. Her dad is like really high up in the Freemasons, and we were just driving one day, and we were talking about we were heading to like this place called Carowinds. It's a amusement park with a bunch of roller coasters and shit. And she was telling us some stories about the book that they have. And the book that they have, the Freemason book, has a different language in it. It's a language that
is not English.
Is only known to Freemasons. They created that language. So when you become one, you have to learn that language amongst probably 500,000 other crazy secrets. I thought about becoming a Freemason myself because I was
just
like,
to see it,
bro, I'm gonna get as
the
high up as you
insider.
possibly can. Like
that's
those
how I felt
people,
about Scientology.
Yeah, like
but it's
those
way too
people-
expensive, bro.
Well, they've had like a couple of chicks. I watched some videos where they actually ousted Scientology.
Yeah, did you see? There was this girl who used to be like an OT4, OT5, which is like right below the max level of being a like
I was gonna
Tom
say
Cruise.
I don't know what the fuck that is, but I was onto it. I was like, yeah, it's a ranking system.
I think her name is something Ramini. She was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and she said her mom was currently
I fucking love Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
dude.
her mom was actually a Scientologist, and just the stuff that you talk about it, bro. Like the way when she talks about it, they like literally, if you retired from it, that they would send people to your house to check on you to make sure you're not talking about it, or if you say you're gonna go somewhere, they send people to follow you. You know what I mean?
It's kind of weird. I mean, I get it. Like all religions have their weird ass shit. You know what I mean? But why hide so much of it? Like, I mean, why be afraid to hide something? Because who gives a shit what people think, say, or do? I mean, there is some sort of government control, and these they're trying to restrict people too much, telling them what they can and can't do. So I could see that being like an issue if it came too mainstream. But I don't know, bro. I mean, it could have something to do with like New World Order. My girlfriend is onto that shit a lot. We went to Denver on our way to North Carolina because we go there pretty much every Christmas to spend with her family because my family and I, we don't vibe on the same level, bro. So I don't want to spend, you know, too much time, and they know it. I'm open about that shit, bro. Like, I'm not hiding shit. I'm very vocal about what's fucked up and what's not, you know. So either way, but we stopped in the Denver airport, and there's some like New World conspiracy clues within there. They've got these weird ass paintings on the walls.
Oh yeah,
of,
remember
like,
that?
You seen that shit?
The airport.
Like big ass wall murals.
Yeah. You went to it?
So check this out, though. So there's a plaque. Okay, so that's all just paintings and shit, and it's fucked up. And I can see where, like, the
You're talking about the airport, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I was just talking to this girl
the murals.
about that.
Yeah, and we took pictures, and my girlfriend loved. She was so excited. I mean, I literally booked the flight, so we had like a 4-hour layover, so that we could explore the whole damn thing. Because I was like, baby, we're not doing this again, so we're gonna fucking do this. And some of the shit that you went to look for, because she had it all mapped out.
Yeah,
like,
it was just, it's weird paintings, right? It's like
yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, there's like people holding hands, kids crying on the street.
It's some weird ass murals, bro. Weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there is one thing in there, because for me, I get it. That's some weird shit. Like, it shouldn't be in an airport. Like, there's something odd about that. And so I'm more of a conspiracist than not, because I believe there's a lot more shit hidden than there is telling the truth. Human beings do it. So why wouldn't us collectively do that, right? We don't even tell each other the truth because we're afraid of judgment, and we're hiding shit that we did that was wrong, whatever. But there was this one plaque right at the front of the airport, and there's these 2 security guards standing right next to this plaque, bro, and they don't fucking move. And it's like a bronze cast plaque or something, you know. It has like a statue of some sort. I don't remember exactly what the statue was. You could look it up online. But on the plaque itself, it says something. It says these words. It's just normal English, right? And then it says New World Order on the fucking plaque.
Yeah.
It says that.
Plain sight.
In the middle of Denver. Is Denver an international airport? Probably, right? It's a huge airport. In the middle of the damn airport.
You know, there's a conspiracy. There's an actual government military base below that airport.
And they have a bunch of data to where, like, when these catastrophic world events were happening, all the leaders flew there, and that's where
it's ridiculously large. Like, the actual area for that actual airport, like, it's bigger than it should be.
Yeah.
You know, and they actually had to kick people off of the land that previously owned or whatever had business there. Like, they had to move them out.
So funny, bro. People run and hide, and it's like, motherfucker, you're gonna die anyway.
What should people Google if they're trying to find out more information about that?
Just the Denver airport. I don't know. You'd have to hashtag my girlfriend on that one, because she knows all about that stuff. But it'd be like Denver airport conspiracy, something like that. To find it.
Oh,
dope.
Shout out to conspiracies. They're so fun.
They are, bro. I mean, anything that that's attempting to expose the truth or to broaden and open people's minds up. I mean, I'm not saying that they're truth or lies or whatever, but, you know, people's minds are just so shut off, bro. So much narrow-mindedness. It's like, dude, open up your mind. Start to question things. Start to, like he was saying, you know, I mean, dude, how are you ever going to figure anything out if you just live within these certain parameters your whole fucking life, dude? You're not gonna learn anything. You're not gonna grow. You're not gonna accomplish anything. You're just putzing along. Like, create something, because your ass ain't gonna be here forever. So take advantage of it.
People just get comfortable.
Yeah,
They
it's a
love
fear
that
thing.
normal life. They're
It's
like,
a fear.
normal life is easy. Why would I want to do extra shit?
Yeah.
Which is
I
not
say-
no bad thing, you know. Like, if that's how you live your life and you're happy, like,
As long as you're not
says-
being a terrible person, to other people, you know,
Like,
hurting other people.
It's always funner just to question things too, man. Like, just really, like, I mean, would you rather look at the world as like, oh, this is the way it is and that's it, or
Hell
would it,
no.
or would it be more fun to be like, well, why is it this way?
You know what?
Let's figure it out.
You know what would be a cool ass occupation, dude, to try and do is to go and explore ancient ruins and shit and try and interpret what the fuck was going on there.
Yeah.
Because that is some incredible
What
shit.
was that? Well, there was these mountains with rocks on top of them that were like cut to a certain. They're on top of a mountain. I want to say.
Oh, that's Machu Picchu.
I want to say it's in Brazil or something though. It's not. It's not Machu Picchu. And it dates
It's probably
back.
similar because those
It dates
areas
back
were
a long time.
Yeah, those
bro.
were Incan areas. I went to Machu Picchu, dude, and it was intense. The energy there was something else. But what most people don't know about Machu Picchu is that they brought in modern equipment to actually make that look like better and more impressive than it was.
Yeah.
They cut rocks out and they pieced them together to where they're airtight. And the original Machu Picchu, if you look at the picture, there are rocks there and stuff. But when they first discovered it, it was covered in foliage and shit. Not the same rocks. They developed that shit. They built it out. I know. You can see the pre-existing ones because, you know, I was talking with the locals. I speak Spanish. You know, I was down there with 2 other dudes that speak Spanish. Like, we were traveling. We weren't fucking on a tour. Nothing. Matter of fact, we came across a one of the most poisonous snakes in Peru as we were hiking up a certain portion of Machu Picchu. This snake used to kill people, tourists back in the day, and the Incans brought it in to protect Machu Picchu because it's very violently aggressive, and they call it the 3-step snake. And if it bites you, you got 3 steps and you're dead. So what happened was it was killing a bunch of tourists back in the late 1900s. And so they went and eradicated all these snakes because they're like, fuck, this is bad for business, dude. Well, we were hiking up this really remote hike there that most of the tourists don't do. We did 2 extreme hikes that day. They were both took 3.5 hours. They were like a 1,500 foot elevation increase, dude, within it was switchback everything. So anyway, me and my friend at the time, we came across this snake and it wouldn't let us pass. And we were already about halfway up and the park was about to close. And I was like, dude, we got 2 options. We can go down. We may never hike this ever again in our lives, or we can find a way around the snake. And it kept moving back and forth on the step. It wouldn't let us pass.
Whoa, that's scary.
And it was venomous. You could tell because I know what venomous snakes look like. And so I asked him to get me a long stick, and we
tossed him
with
off
a fork.
the canyon.
No, with a fork. I trapped its neck, dude, up against the step behind it,
and it went around.
And we put a rock on it, and that snake was going crazy. He was trying to get out of there, bro. And then we were going up. These people from Argentina were coming down. I told them in Spanish, "There's a snake in the middle of the steps. Like, no need to kill it," because we came down to that same spot when we came down, and that rock was on the snake, bro. And they had killed that shit, and we figured out why, because it was that snake, and people thought we were crazy. They're like, you guys are fucking crazy ass white boys, trying to trap this poisonous ass snake. But the cool part is when we came down Machu Picchu, dude, the park was closed. We were the last 2 people and the only 2 people in the park, right? And so we had it all to ourselves. So we got to watch a beautiful sunset, take pictures. Nobody was on it, no workers, nobody. And then as we went to leave, we caught the last bus out, was all the workers, dude. And they looked at us hella weird, like, why are these tourists getting on the fucking workers bus? And we just went and sat down and then went back, dude. But yeah, I mean, traveling is amazing, bro. Some of that stuff that they built, dude, is just blows your mind. Like,
yeah, I still want to, even though I don't have my questions about Machu Picchu, I still want to see stuff like that, or even just see the pyramids, or
Yeah, the pyramids would be unreal, dude.
Did you see the video of the dude who scaled the pyramids? Some pyramids
I
in
think
Giza?
I did. Was it a while ago?
It was I want to say maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think
he had
I
a
saw
GoPro
that.
on him, and
That's dope,
he went literally to the top of the pyramid, bro. I was terrified watching.
That's dope, dude. Yeah, I saw Stonehenge. I didn't feel any different energy there. I'm not sure if that was just something that they just made to be a fucking tourist thing or whatever. It's so hard to believe information.
It wasn't Stonehenge, man. The one I was talking about earlier was it. I'll have to look it up afterwards.
Maybe it was like the Mayan ruins in Mexico or something like that.
I don't think it was Mayan either. I want to say it was in Brazil or something like that.
Okay.
And it's just it's not even famous for it being crazy, but they were I was listening to it on the Joe Rogan podcast and talking about how it dated literally back to thousands of years, and supposedly even to do it now would be a lot. It would be an expensive, crazy project, because these stones are literally twice the size of this house.
Bro, my parents own a tile store, bro. We would lift granite slabs off of trucks in bundles of 10 or 12.
Yeah.
And we had a forklift that was a 15,000 pound load forklift, dude. Huge. And even then, at times, different types of granite and different types of natural stone have different densities depending upon the quartz content and other mineral content in it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'd take that forklift, bro. It'd be up and it would tilt. Boom. We'd be on the front tires, ass in the air, bro. And you've got a fucking probably to the customers $20,000 or more worth of slabs just hanging in these cable straps that we use, right? And you have to get people on the back and to get the butt end down, bro. People die from that shit all the time, dude. We were as cautious as possible, always as safe as possible with that shit, dude. And some slabs, you'd be carrying them around in a forklift, dude, and that slab would just drop out of the clamp, dude, and just shatter because it's just a fracture point, dude. I mean, these things get cut out of quarries. I went to an Italian factory that cuts giant blocks, is what they're called, of granite and different types of materials in Vancouver. Because the Italians supposedly have the best equipment for that, because they make the best porcelain over in Italy, and natural stones imported from all over the world. But a lot of the most exotic stuff that you see in the slabs and shit's from Brazil, and I saw them do the whole entire process from there, bro, and it was fucking incredible, dude. That stuff is. But it kind of sucks because we destroy our environments for that shit, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on how remote it is, really. If it's kind of remote, I'm more on the like, well, there's really nothing there, so what's the big fucking deal? But, you know, the wildlife and shit, if all that has to... And
Yeah, for me,
eventually,
is the tree cutting.
yeah,
tree cutting is what gets
I don't
me.
agree with that at all, bro. I don't agree with
Yeah,
abusing
shit.
nature at
Like,
all,
I'm
bro.
not spiritual, I'm not
I know.
religious, I'm not anything, but like I feel like, man, you guys are when I heard it, it was like they cut down like what is it, 600 acres of
The Amazon or something?
of tree like every day or something like
Yeah.
that, some crazy
That's
number.
a lot.
It's weird, too, because,
That's
like...
so much.
I when I traveled, I went out. I'm an adventurer, so when I go, I fucking go, bro. I mean, we're in dangerous situations all the time when we travel. Out in nature, though, you know, sometimes with people, but that's more like just putting yourself in the wrong circumstance in a country that you're not from, you know?
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit. But, you know, you know, those forests are so amazing, dude. And human beings are just so greedy and selfish. And, you know, that going back to the cannabis thing, cannabis can be used for all that stuff. It's more effective at, you know, detoxifying the you know, the air that we breathe and the soil and everything. It's stronger than any of that shit that we use too, as far as its fibrous strength, you know, and it grows way quicker, it requires less water. It's just crazy that we went the direction that we went. You know, I mean, there's always a way to make money. If these fucks want to be hella corrupt and shit and make a ton of money, look, I don't blame you. That's fine. But just do it in a manner that, you know, like doesn't screw up the planet and the world and the people's minds and stuff. Like just be cool about it. You can still do that shit, you know what I'm saying? And you can make everything wonderful, but why do it that way? You know, I just don't see any logic in it. I mean, population control is going to be an issue at some point in time, but dude, the sheer amount of landmass that we have on this fucking planet that is quote unquote uninhabitable because we choose to develop inner cities and all flock to those things. We have the technology to make any of that shit inhabitable.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And in a way that's not going to destroy the environment as well. Like these inner cities destroy the fucking environment. It just leaches poison and ooze and nastiness from those cities out into, you know, the outskirts of the environments and stuff. It's crazy.
I heard this statistic that said something about how if you took every single person that was alive on Earth and you put them shoulder to shoulder next to each other, front and
It's
back,
only LA or something like that.
It's like. Well, actually, now you're making me second question. Second guess myself. But I heard it was only like enough to fill up like half the state of Texas or something like
No,
that.
I think it's smaller. They said
Smaller
LA.
than that? Oh, really?
Right. And we
literally
make it seem like, you know, it's just the inner cities, bro. We just pack in there, you know.
You know what's crazy though? They say ants take up a huge amount of like the actual Earth.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
They can definitely
They
they wanted to
break down
overtake
and-
us.
Well, dude, the thing about nature is like with the bees. There's supposedly issues happen with the bees, and if
it's
the
so
bees
sad.
don't pollinate the
we're
flowers,
fucked.
we're done. Like the nature is so much in balance and harmony at all times, but you know, one thing goes wrong, it will adapt.
The
but
butterfly effect.
yeah. I mean, but you know, we're just it's so weird that we just don't partake in that. We think we're better than that, but we don't realize we're sitting on this fucking spinning rock or disc if you're a flat earther or whatever.
Whatever shape.
I'm
you
not
wanna
making
call
fun
it.
of flat earthers, by the way, because I'm not saying one thing is right or the other. I just have
Yeah.
never been out of space to make any sort of claim, whether it's one way or
Yeah.
another.
Unless
You
you're a
know what I'm saying?
cockroach, then you're kind of worthless.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man, you can find
Bro.
a use for cockroach. I mean, what would be the use for a cockroach?
Why is it that Mexicans always hate cockroaches?
Yeah.
My
Because we grew
girlfriend-
up with them, bro.
my girlfriend is deadly terrified
I hate
of cockroaches, bro.
cockroaches.
She's like, what kind of animal can you cut the head off and it keeps running around and stays alive? That shit is evil. And I was like, I'm not bothered by cockroaches at all. Matter of fact, there's nothing in nature, no animals, nothing that bother me, to be honest with you.
You have
Like,
to
I
wa-
could cope with all of them.
I can't.
I don't know.
You have to watch this anime
Look, if
called
I'm-
Terraformers, and it's about basically the cockroaches evolving into something because they were sent to a planet, and they actually start learning how to like like that one movie,
like Men in Black, when the big cockroach is like the bad guy and he eats the person's body.
Was that number 3? Oh no, that was the first
It's
one.
like the Edgar suit. She's like, it's an Edgar suit.
Bro,
Yeah,
it's
I think
crazy.
that was the second.
I do
first or
want to.
second
I do
one.
want to say I do believe there are creatures on this earth, bro, that like have been dumped here by alien, or they're like alien creatures.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, 'cause
I
you
find
can-
it hard to. I mean, to not believe that, you know, because I mean, there's so much crazy. It's like people saying there's no other life in the universe. I'm like,
It's like
man,
called that
Well, if you
sorry,
think
but
about it,
that's just-
wasn't all the
doesn't make
water on
sense.
planet Earth? The only reason we have water on this Earth is because the meteors that were hitting it had water on them, and it's like it didn't come from this rock.
That's an interesting story, bro.
Yeah.
But it's just a story.
Damn, that's crazy.
It's just I don't know. It
For
could,
real though.
yeah.
I mean, this is what I always tell people, and sometimes my close friends or my girlfriend, they kind of get frustrated with me when I say this, but I'm like, look, anything that you did not experience directly is not
It's
true.
a story.
It's not
it's
true
a story.
to you.
I believe that 100%.
You know? Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the way to be, because even all of us right now, we're doing this podcast, but like I'm looking at different things and he's looking at different things, and so
Completely different
we may be
perceptions.
sharing like a close environment, but our universal reality of what we're experiencing is completely different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the beauty in it, though. As long as we're willing to share it and willing to, kind of like just listen to it and hear it out.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to be, I don't care if you're 100% right on everything. Like, as long as you're a good person and you try not to like persuade me to do something bad.
Yeah.
What's the harm in it?
Yeah, and everyone wants to argue over petty shit. I'm like, really? What the fuck is the point? Like, is this not? Look, if you want to make something worse and destroy something, cool. That's your objective. Fine.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
If you want to make something better and create something cool, that's your objective. But all the arguing and bickering, there's no fucking objective. It's just like a dog chasing
Waste
its
of
tail.
energy.
You feel me? Yeah. It's so dumb. It's so there's no productivity to it at all, negatively or positively. Why even participate in that shit? It's so dumb.
I think
dude.
if you're just like you said at the beginning, or Keem did, or both of you guys did, it's just trying to help people. Like, I think that should, and it doesn't have to be the main thing of your life. Like, if you're just a good person doing your thing, like, because everybody's gonna help somebody out in some type of way.
We always need help, bro.
Yeah.
Can't
we
do
need
it
to
by
live
ourselves.
harmoniously.
I just don't think.
I don't have my shirt on right now.
Yeah.
The shirt I'm wearing says "Unfollow the rules" and it's
There you go.
upside down. But I told Chuck, and his says "We are massive." That's fucking for real, bro. Our team, by the way, for those people that don't know our team, we have a team, and our team is unstoppable, and we are gonna do the most amazing positive shit and creative shit to help everyone on this planet in so many ways, in all different avenues that we all participate in, and we formed up a squad that's unstoppable. We're gonna put so much love and positivity and power out there in all of our creation and manifestation that we do, that it's gonna make a massive impact. And those that want to jump on board, they gotta have a pure heart, and they can come be a part of the squad, dude. But that "We Are Massive" shirt is no fucking joke, dude.
Yeah.
That's probably the most truthful thing we've talked about all night, right there, bro. We are a massive team,
and it's not
bro.
even spelled right.
Yeah, and it's spelled wrong.
Damn. He's like, I think they forgot an E.
And it has a period on it.
That's dope, man. Well, I look forward to hearing more about Harmonious CBD and looking you guys up and trying some of your guys' products.
Oh, real quick, what's next for Harmonious CBD?
Yeah, so we're formulating an energy shot right now. We did the R&D ourselves, and so it's going to be effective energy-wise, all natural ingredients. Always everything's done high
What are the
quality
flavors?
We're gonna do we're doing tropical punch, we're doing fruit punch, and we're doing lemon lime, and those are all natural organic syrups that are used for the flavoring. So, and then it'll have we have to use CBD isolate. We can't put full plant extract because of the THC issue.
Right.
Because you can't put those in a gas station and expect.
Will you
dude
have them
that's-
though? Full spectrum ones?
in the future?
Got it.
Yeah. Right now it's just kind of risky, and then we're it's just So, and then we're going to have our vape cartridges that are coming out too. Those are difficult to formulate, especially the way that we're doing them, because we're doing them the purest, most natural way you can. So there's some finite things to that, but we're formulating those, and then we got some big stuff that I can't talk about coming up that Chuck knows about. But
boom.
That stuff people will know about it when it happens, and it's going to be massive, dude. So.
Well, we look forward to it, man. Was there anything else you wanted to add, or
nope?
No. Where can people find you guys online?
Yeah, so HarmoniousCBD.com. That's where our product is. It ships from our manufacturer in Colorado, so everything is fresh, dude. Our shit is made to order for real. You can order from there. You could use discount code Brandon 5%, and that's active all the time. Just try and help people, with the cost and stuff. And generally, that's where you're gonna find the most inexpensive prices on our product. Although most companies are now lowering their prices to match our website, because that's the purpose. We're trying to get it out to the people for an affordable price, the highest quality for the most affordable price we can do.
That's dope, man.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's all about the people. We're in it for the people. We're trying to heal people, dude.
That's a good mission statement to have, because when you do that, you don't really have any bad intentions, and if your purpose is to help people out, it's gonna get out there.
We don't have a shred of bad intention, bro. There's no point.
There you go, man.
Okay.
We're gonna go ahead and put all your information down below in the description.
Dope, thank you.
For Anchor,
thank
for
you guys
Spotify.
for having me, bro. I've
you.
been bugging Chuck forever for this shit, dude.
Yeah,
We've been meaning to get you in
fine.
since last year, but when we moved, we had to shift a bunch of people around because you know, we were moving studios and then we were out of a studio for like 2 months. So
Yeah,
you
because
know,
we had to build all this.
Yeah, I was telling Anthony, I was like, oh, they only do high profiles. Everyone's got like 15, 20, 30,000 followers. I was like, you know what I was gonna do before this shit? I was gonna buy like 30,000 followers just to fuck with you guys. You'd be like, oh, so Brandon, looks like you had 1,600. What the? You have 30,000 followers? Yeah, dude, popular overnight, bro.
Nah, man. To be honest with you,
those aren't bots.
It has nothing to do with followers.
No,
We'll bring anybody on here that can sit down and have a genuine discussion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as they're knowledgeable in it and they have confidence behind what they're talking about, because people always hit us up to be on the show.
It's got to be interesting,
and it has to be a little interesting,
show.
man. You know what I mean? Like people have to gain some sort of value from it outside of just you promoting whatever you're working on. Or, you know, whether it's an artist that's working on an album or something like that. Because we get a lot of artists that hit us up, and not saying we don't want artists on the show. We definitely do, but you got to have a message. Like look at Mike Xavier's episode, man.
Yeah, very.
The dude is a humble hustler, man.
Yeah.
He's not huge, and he just sold out 750 tickets to his show
Vinyl.
at the Vinyl,
Damn,
bro.
yeah.
He
Good
did
for
that. He
him.
did that on his
That's
own.
amazing.
On his own,
Good for
bro.
him.
One man, you know, like. So yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah, you guys have some rad people in the energy and intent, you know, behind, you know, because that's your guys' show.
Yeah.
So it's got to be about something, right? That's what makes people want to watch it. You guys are doing an amazing job too. I'm looking forward to some of the other people you guys are going to have on here as well, dude.
Thank you, man.
It's gonna be cool.
Man.
Thanks so much for having me, bro.
We appreciate it. We'll put all your information down below. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on the next morning dinner.
Later, y'all.
See ya.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen. In the goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.